Folks, I'm coming for all the gays in the crypto world who are selling at the moment. Whoever is selling is gay. And you got to stop, hold it, stop. Unless you are gay, you are gay.
Chain Laboratories.
Nigga chain. Some will bridge and others feel the pain. Nigga chain. AI layer 2 technology. Nigga chain. Quantum proof Gorillium TPS. Nigga chain. Leave the hood and make your mama proud. Nigga chain. The tech is real and you are missing out.
Give me car, give me wife, give me children, give me this, give me that. Kill my enemy, kill my enemy, kill my enemy, give me, kill my enemy, give me. Anyone that doesn't want me to succeed, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire. Give me this, give me that. Kill my enemy, give me that. Give me this, give me die by fire, die by fire.
Don't gamble. Oh yeah, don't gamble money that you can. Man. I mean, unless it's a lock.
There's no such thing as a lock. That's the thing.
Unless it's a lock. If it's a lock,
Oh my God,
it's a little different.
Stop gambling, alright? You're one spin away from generational wealth. Your daughter's college tuition is one spin away. Put your life savings on black. Remember that. Just go to Vegas, and if you lose, just keep getting loans. Remember this. Just keep spinning, keep gambling, keep gambling. You can't lose. You literally can't lose. You can only quit.
Nobody knows about that fucking degenerate life when you're fucking down 40,000 and you battle the fuck back. You say, you know what? You know what? I'm a fucking strong, independent man. And you're not gonna tell me I should go to bed. I'm gonna battle the fuck back. And I'm gonna fucking get my money back. And guess what? I got my motherfucking money back. That's right.
But when you go all in on something, I would say that does take conviction. Now, your conviction might be.
How many chairs are you sitting on right now?
One.
Are you all in on the chair? The point really is you put on one pair of glasses. You've got one pair of AirPods right now. You're looking at me through one screen. You're using one microphone. That's a one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones? The point really is things in your life. Do you drive in 10 cars at the same time or one car at one time? Do you drive down one street? Aren't you afraid that you're driving down one street? Do you take a different way? You know? So my point really is, if you're you get on one airplane, are you convicted? You put your entire family on the one airplane, aren't you afraid? Asset. Well, Bitcoin is the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin. Then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin. Then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business, it's in your family for 37 years, and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth.
Boom, and we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to PulseChain 369 Conference, man. What's going on, man? I'm here with Charlie.
Hey, we're surviving Vegas for the weekend. Good God.
And before we show you the rest of the panels, because it's a full table, it's fully stacked, I like to talk about a little bit of the wall of shame here a little bit. L to those who couldn't come, RG3. Money Gang.
Money Gang's in the chat. He should be right here.
Bastard,
come on, bro.
Coffee. No, they're handling a VIP dinner right now, which I understand. It's okay, but Kyle, let the guests introduce themselves.
Woo! Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and gentlemen of all ages. Zenith DI, and I gotta say, it is an honor to be here. You two were one of the ones that got me into streaming, so it's an honor to be here in the flesh. And by the way, if you ever hear me call them my crypto rich dads, this is the reason. And by the way, gentlemen, would you mind signing this?
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what's crazy? I was telling Zenith this before the stream. He's sitting in the exact chair Robert Kiyosaki was streaming with Rolo.
Wow, right. Sign. This is the one. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
Charlie or Miguel was the one that gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I also have Elliott Wave Theory. It's a little on the denser side, but that's a Charlie recommendation.
That's a Charlie sign right there. Yeah.
Bang bang. What's up, everybody? Kareem here, aka Hex Dream Account. Glad to be here with all the legends, having a great time as always, and probably well known for people who are more into Hex. But now we got PulseChain, so love to be here, love to learn from others. Let's get it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm always excited to be here with Charlie and Miguel and all you fine people. Yeah, I'm really excited because I've been kicking it with Aubrey DeGray for a couple of days this week, and we're trying to get PulseChain listed on a top 3 exchange. So I can't really go much further because we don't really know. But the man, he's got a lot of social capital, and as far as I know, PulseChain raised $27 million for his longevity foundation.
Let's go.
Yeah. So there's a lot of powerful people in tech and finance and crypto who, they'll do the right thing for Aubrey. And so I hope what that means is it means that PulseChain is going to get listed. We don't know if it will, but it's time to ask the right questions. I'm Matty Allen, by the way.
Hey, we're live.
Hey, Matty puts in the work. We got to respect that.
Yeah, thanks.
Fast Abdul here. You may know me from my catchphrases. I'm here for the tech, or let's talk bribes.
Yeah, I thought it was Abdul get the rocks.
That's your line.
Tell me your secrets.
It didn't work. I'm here.
So how much did we have to bribe you to get you here?
Well, that must remain undisclosed. Actually, I have no bribe policy personally. I just like to talk about them.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I like the word payola. Yeah.
Classic.
RHMax here, okay, Max, back for the second year in a row. Appreciate you gents inviting me back, and had a great last one. New place, new fun stuff, and having a great weekend. PulseChain tour, amazing panel, table, I don't know what you call it, but a group of awesome people here. So super excited to get into it with you guys.
Mr. Angry Twinkie, a long-term student of Miguel and Charlie's. We've done a whole lot of quarters, a lot of courses, a lot of meetups at this point in time. Happy to be here amongst this table of legends and having a great time.
Yeah, and can I say one more thing? Where's Boogie at right now?
He's hiding. He's ducking me this weekend.
Because seems like he's kind of in Ladyboy land. From what I learned.
Say more.
I said nothing. It was not me.
Boogie, stay away from the ping pong shows. Just saying.
Yo, it's Crypto Sloth, your favorite dentist who LARPs as a sloth on the internet, talking about magic internet money. Great to be here on this awesome panel and on my second time on the show with you guys. It was a lot of fun sharing the stage at the conference with you guys too.
That was
Like a
fantastic.
Full circle, you know, it was a good moment. I appreciated it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good info that you put out there. So I think, what do you call it? I think RG is going to put that out on YouTube in like the next few days or something like that. So yeah, I recommend people listen to, you know, what Sloss was saying there about tokenomics.
No, definitely. And stuff. No, somebody actually asked me on Twitter, like, why is everyone's faces squinting in the videos and stuff?
Oh my God.
Because the lights were literally blinding us in the face.
Fuck.
I mean, at least I have an excuse. You know, I am half Asian. I do see in widescreen. So.
There was one person that did it right though. It was Fast Abdul because he was wearing shades on
Oh,
stage.
Smart.
Shades or hat?
Did he have the Cartiers on? The Cartiers?
You know, a bunch of them. You had the purple, the blue. What we got tonight?
Okay. It's the Terminator.
Are they at least Oakley's?
No, these are the $20 ones from the hotel.
Gotcha. From the truck stop. I got you.
Hey, it gets the job done. So
Yeah, from the Terminator. Can we get a "Come with me if you want to pump"?
I think I can too.
You just did it.
that's funny.
So yeah, actually, I wanted to say one thing. The Sloth was actually, I think, the first actual one of our guys actually made a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Way back in the day.
Do you remember what year it was?
2021 probably.
21,
21, 22, somewhere in there. It was my second year of dental school.
Got you.
But you stayed through the bear.
I stayed through
which
the
is
bear.
which is
I
what
stuck
counts.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say Hex has taught you, to think and stake for the long term because you made it through dental school now?
Absolutely. I've learned delayed gratification through dental school. Just had to practice it with my finances too.
Amen.
No, you'd be surprised. Like, 'cause we had a lot of students that they actually had really cool, like they're on track to have really cool careers or had a really decent job, and almost every one of them was just looking for an excuse to tell us, can we quit our job? I'm being very serious. Like, it was like sometimes we like me and Charlie get like consultations or kind of like, hey, can I talk to you in private for a second at an event? And they're looking for permission to do something they already want to do already, right?
Well, but the reason why they ask is because they know it's a risk.
Right. Yeah.
It's a huge risk.
And what do you tell them?
I mean, most of the times, no. I mean, unless it's like, if it's a low-paying job, let's just say if it's like a minimum wage job, yeah, quit it. You can get another one. That's easy. But
as long as you can go back easily.
Correct.
Exactly.
Right.
That's something that's career that you can just leave behind, and then they're gonna just fill it with somebody else.
Right. Yeah. The hard one sometimes is because I don't know the whole dynamics is working for a family business. Because I don't know, maybe are you the lazy are you the lazy son, or are you like really a hardworking guy and they're taking advantage of you as well? And at some point, even me, I work for my father, and at some point, I had to start venturing out on my own as well, and it's not easy.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, if I can give a little advice, because I work with family a lot, is that you just got to look at it like not just you being good, you got to make sure the rest of the family is good or at least stable, because then you feel less guilty when you try living your best life, and then you're like, oh, but you put them in the hole. So it's like, make sure you leave good foundation. So when you're out, then the thing just work on its own. So
Well, actually, I work for my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm.
How much you hate them?
I'm actually
slave
fortunate.
drivers.
It's worked out really well. Like no conflict. Like I'm getting to learn from them for like the 30 years of experience. Get to spend this time with them. Like it's a blessing
That
to
is
be
nice.
able to work with them and spend this time with them, which normally I wouldn't if I was working in some other field.
Right.
Or degenerating crypto all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when people are like, okay, I need to jump into crypto full time. Like I think we met. I forgot his name, but we'll learn it. There's a guy from Arkansas that we met at the conference yesterday. He's like, I just jumped into your course in the bottom of the bear market, and like now he's on like a blockchain council in the state. And I'm and he's like, starting making moves. I'm like, damn, like the Moon Gang's awesome, bro. But like, hey, if you keep your job and you keep that income flowing, like just keep dollar cost averaging. Like, wait one whole cycle before you do that shit, you know?
And you guys have been saying that for years because there's definitely been some people who passed through the course is like, oh, you know, I cashed out and things are looking great, and I'm going to throw that into LPs, and all of a sudden the yield dies off, and it's like now we're going back to work. And ideally, we don't want to be in that position. So I will give you guys a ton of credit that you've been very consistent with that message.
Yeah, and I've had some pretty high profile guys who've made some that have made a lot of money already this year that are asking me, hey, where can I yield for them? And I was like, sure, let me show. And then the main thing is really they want to be able to create, like, have yield in the bear market, and that's why I'm like, dude, as long you can, as long as you skip the first year of the bear market, then LP, because the first year is where you have every company. You'll find out the companies in the projects and the LP pools that are going to rug.
Yep.
After that, you have like solid projects, but the yields are still going to be pretty low at that time. But you still can make money. But it's risk. I mean, it's risky. You know, like, I mean, for me, I mean, I don't yield farm too much in the bear market. Maybe there's like a really cool, like, there's like an opportunity there. But even this cycle, I didn't really find that many places to yield farm other than PulseX, really. PulseX. I mean,
PulseX Inc. You're talking about it.
Sonic or Phantom. The Phantom yields were pretty low at the time too. I still was yield farming because I had legacy bags and things I was doing on there, but it wasn't that great, honestly. Like yield, I mean, I just did it just to pay attention. And it wasn't until like really this year where things got crazy with yield. Now there's kind of yield on all the chains starting to build up now. We just slashed all our yield on PulseChain. Shout out.
Hey.
The market decided. The market decided.
Still waiting for the OA to spin up a bunch of validators, but yeah, that's like the last bastion of inflation, or inflation, and yield. So how do you guys think about the rise and fall of things like liquid loans, or what Passive Dual has coming as ink printer, where, you know, maybe at a particular point in the market where you think it's going to be up only?
Did liquid loans ever rise?
right.
Like,
well, you've got, so for all of the core RH assets, now you have a protocol like that, which
they're all liquidity forks, right? So liquidity forks for each RH asset on PulseChain. The difference between some versus liquid loans is there's not $55 million worth of sacrifice sell pressure. So
right. So like, why are they even fucking like sponsoring the conference? Like, these guys literally rugged the entire community, took all their money and left. Like, they need to be called the fuck out. Like, bro, these guys are not good for the community long term unless they do put liquidity back in there. Because like, I'm like, are these guys even like trying to like help people? No.
Bro, I've been saying that since day one.
Bro, I mean, they allegedly rugged like $50 fucking million plus, and then during the bear market, they thought they were cute and they tried to trade like Richard, and then they lost another couple more millions of dollars from their SAC fund.
And they were also wrecking a lot of people too. People were playing DeFi leverage.
So that's getting wrecked too. That's the sentiment of like liquid loans having raised 50 million for PulseChain. The question is about like actual liquidity forks, because there's a mechanism there that is kind of interesting when we talk about yield.
For sure.
But
they just copy pasted and took everybody's money.
There's so much knowledge here of crypto in this panel. That's why I'm asking, like, what do you guys really think of liquidity forks? Because I mean,
there needs to be a better one.
Isn't a good example.
Yes.
It's the idea of like taking, you know, like what 50% leverage or something versus, you know, multiple X's of leverage on something.
Well, so liquidity works. I've talked about it since 21. It's one of the few chains that I actually called out on chain, and I said this in 21 that I think this is really cool. We can fork it. It was eventually forked. I was like, all right, so that's good.
The guy who created Ethereum Foundation 2.0.
Yeah,
like recently.
So the guy's very talented.
Smart man.
The thing that messed his project up is that he was ETH DeFi, and ETH DeFi became unprofitable because the fees were so high that everyone just started basically not being able to operate it. Only whales could even use Aave, really. Like, I showed this on the webinars before. I try to take a small position out on Aave to take a loan to show people what loaning is. I paid $600 in gas fees to do it. And I was just in it for literally showed you guys. I was in it for like an hour, then left an hour later.
What was Gwei?
It was ridiculous. I mean, I can't remember.
Was Gwei like 1 or was Gwei like 50 at the time?
No, it was higher. It was 100, 114, 160.
Easy, yeah.
This is during. I mean, this is like
you were lucky if it was 100.
You know, when everyone was happy and making
I remember
money.
we were consistently over 100 plus. You know what I mean? The thing that I find really messed up is like, this is one of the only projects. Think about it. They're the one. They also robbed Godwell, because Godwell put millions in that. So it's like it's so messed up. And that's why I agree with Charlie. This is something that needs to be said, because again, obviously I warn people against it from the get-go, because again, you're already playing with crazy leverage when you're on DeFi. Right. You don't want to add any extra.
Look, the only protection they have right now, which is a lot of SAC projects in PulseChain as well, is, and this is the truth, is almost all of them didn't allocate the money, or they used a little bit to start the projects off. Almost all of them, the money's still basically there. Outside of, I can only take 2 other projects where it just
rob your liquidity.
But they were the smaller ones with smaller amounts of money. But all the bigger ones, most of the money is there. It hasn't been touched. So the only kind of justification I could possibly have is that they got a knock from a lawyer.
That's fine.
Which might, no,
like, I understand that.
But you know,
if it's true,
if it's true, that, and this is why I think a lot of influencers also have not been saying anything either. Like, I haven't said anything either, because like there's so much unclarity right now that maybe that's really the reason. That's the only fucking excuse. And if that's not the excuse, then what the fuck?
Well, and they have to bring it back at some point. Like, as long as they put in liquidity, I'm like, okay, great. But if they don't, then
maybe my question is more like broadly, like, is DeFi dead?
No.
Okay,
not even
close.
But if you got no demand, you know, I know like there's protocols and stuff like that do use like their USDL and stuff like that. They are using them. Obviously, I think some on Fast Abduls and stuff and everything. It's like 2Flux and stuff. But the thing is, most people are using bridged in USDC or DAI or Tether for the most part. And we do need, this is why, like, if they're doing such a good job, and I mean, I'm not trying to chastise them too much, but like, but it's the truth. Like, I don't, like, even now, I don't know who even runs the project.
Well, like, if they disappeared and didn't try to like stay in like the ecosystem, like, that's like, okay, like whatever, but they're literally still like tweeting shit out, talking like nothing happened. And I'm like, that's a thief.
So will there ever be a day where the price increase that we see happening on something like Inc, where it will make sense to go 50% long?
Is it ever going to make sense to go 50%?
Will it ever go up and stay up?
There's like a leverage, you know,
because like none of the DeFi works if the price doesn't go up and stay up, right? Like in a sense.
Like, so. I mean, look, like, I will say this: why is PDI such a narrative now? If it's so successful, why is PDI such a narrative? Why? Because if I buy PDI, it might go to $1 and I make a lot of money, and that's what I want.
If you think about it, that's what Hex did. Like, it was like we could do 10,000x, and so there is a number in people's mind,
which is important. Like, you need a goal, because as long as there's a goal, like, you have something to work towards. So, like, I 100% agree with that.
Because I will say this: like, the USDL is stable. It is stable. It is $1. But then, okay, if the stablecoin's $1, you can't make money on that. So where, like, the loan token. Oh, the loan token doesn't make money.
USDL.
They do make money though. Like,
no, I know if you stake it and stuff, but you have to have a retardedly large percentage of the supply to actually make decent money.
Yeah, or crazy.
And I know that for a fact. I know people who have, who have the token.
But it's all about the price of the loan token.
Correct.
That's determining that APR. So if the loan token was 10x the current price, those APRs largely inside the protocol could be 10x the current price. And if people were,
if it pays in that, if it pays in that, not if, because if it's paying stables, they can only pay out fees that they actually generate from people taking loans out. So if the price 10x in price, the APR could actually go down unless they were giving you loan token as yield, because then that could increase the APRs.
Well, with liquid loans, it'll be the same with Ink Printer. Like, for the stable coins, you have single-sided staking, no impermanent loss, staking stable coin. Then you get a kickback on the liquidations if you're staking the stable coin. So that's not a continuous source of yield likely, and then you get the drip of the token, which the loan token with liquid loans, print token with Ink Printer. So the price of that token, and that drip basically never stops, right? Like, whether there's liquidations or not. So the price of the token determines the APR to a large degree, but also how much actions in the protocol. So think of liquid loans, but the founders are on the screen all day telling you about it, explaining it, right? Like, making other liquidity farms, other places, how much more action would it get? How many more fees would the protocol generate? And then how much better would it be to stake in that protocol?
Oh, way better.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's like kind of sad. Like, the chain just needs people who are active. Like, that's why I think PDGC, like the Grays, like, has been such a good project, because not only did they build something that like is positive tokenomics wise, but then also they're actually fucking working.
We need founders to show up for work.
Right. Exactly.
Like, every day. Like, during the bull market, show up for work every day.
I think that, like, liquid loans is a poor anchor to understand what Liquidity could do. because if you really ask me, like RH would probably be more interested in making that the stable coin, you know, if the OA ever collateralizes even into its own liquidity fork.
Right.
You know, so like when we, it's okay to be excited about PDI because it's got a number attached to it in people's minds, and like that excites a lot of people.
Right.
The Twitter engagement for PDI is off the charts. It's like it's okay to be intellectually honest and to say like, well, maybe the OA collateralizing PDI isn't necessarily the move if it's a, you know, it's a speculative stable. But yeah, I mean, that's just the reason I was bringing up the liquidity forks, is like, that's a really cool piece of DeFi that could be used at any time by anybody.
The lack of bridge risk is super important too. Like
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
ideally, one of the big big stable coins would come to PulseChain. We'd have native DAI, native USDC, but like that's probably not going to happen tomorrow. So having these liquidity forks to provide a native stable coin with no bridge risk, it provides a base that we really, really need. Like,
yeah, because if I had to guesstimate, it'd probably be Tether, because I know Tether's left the EU. You know, they're going to be based. They're going to be based out of El Salvador.
They're working with the U.S. government.
They're working with the U.S. government, and they're just not as much of assholes compared to like Circle.
Who's in charge of that right now?
Bitfinex.
Bitfinex. Yeah.
So like when I meet Brock Pierce like on a roof at an Ethereum conference, and he's wearing like a really silly hat and talking about how much he loves hanging out in Puerto Rico and buying hospitals there. Does he have any decision-making power in Tether anymore?
It's mostly Adam Back and Bitfinex. So I don't know what Brock Pierce's role is with Bitfinex, but Adam Back, my guess is Adam Back, if he's like at least a group of people who are Satoshi, like Blockstream plus USDT are, you know, crypto.
Adam Back is part of Tether?
Yes, he's part of Bitfinex with Samson Mao.
Right.
Like to my understanding, I think he's just shareholder of Bitfinex, but Brock Pierce's price of fame was he was the chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation. So, but Bitfinex is obviously an exchange. So now we don't know how much he owns there, but I think the main player and one of the CEO, he has an Italian name, I forget his name, but that's the one that's usually always on Twitter talking about when people were fighting Tether all the time. He was the one going there defending it. Hey, everything is good. We don't have to tell you all the detail about how we're doing business, because some competitor were looking for that to either copy what you're doing or shut you down and find out whose bank you're dealing with. I mean, it's a cold world out there. People, you can't be naive and just.
You look at if you look at Tether, right? Every time Tether is like, oh, $1 billion were printed, right? And then, I mean, but here's the thing: it's what they
on a whim,
on a whim, right?
Just a billy.
Yeah, and that's what people get mad about. But the thing, if you actually look at their, like, I always look at actions, right?
Exactly.
What are they doing? They usually buy Bitcoin.
Yep.
And essentially, if you look at, let's just say like what you're saying about
right, conspiracy theory.
The conspiracy theory.
That is a conspiracy theory.
And they own a lot of treasury, guys. It's very important. I used to do a big thread about it, where you know, at the time Richard bought some of that too as well, because indirectly the DAI Foundation, I forget the name, they were also getting into that. So Tether is making billions of dollars a year just chilling, collecting that 4% yield.
I think they're the most profitable company, like per capita of heads in the company, because like
per employee
too. They got less than 30 people or something like that.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
they're
like
not sharing it with anybody, right?
Yes.
They're just keeping that.
And Miguel, to your point, that's why they probably more loose and whatever, because they did the grinding. They fought the FUD when they were almost at risk. Now they got so much money. So I promise you, the thing is probably back 1-to-1, because they have so much money. They own so much of the treasury. They're in good business now with the government, because you own the treasury. So we want you to be a bag holder. So they're not going to say nothing.
Yeah, and there's even my conspiracy theory is really all these stable from Tether and Circle were both really just kind of like Dornox founded, but pretty much as a way to weaponize the dollar against other countries, essentially. Because if you actually look at it, like, they made sure to, like, while everybody's fighting over Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other coins, I think the U.S. like 3-letter agencies came in, made sure to empower and make sure to let certain things slide, because they could have very easily at the beginning of USDC and Tether fucking kicked the door down and and fucked them up completely. But why didn't they? Because they wanted,
because
they wanted
SHA-256 is made by the CIA.
No, because it's true. Because they did try a little bit. That's why Tether was getting some of this FUD. Because I think they were trying to shut down Tether, get the USDC, because it's kind of CBD light. Because they can say, "Hey, we cool," but then just like the bank, and then one day they don't like you no more, and they'll freeze your thing. Like,
private corporation.
That's where Rich was further out. I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna die." because nothing's gonna happen whatsoever. Nobody's gonna send a subpoena and be like, hey.
But then Coinbase and then Kraken, Bitfinex, they all bought the supply up and then voted in USDC and tether into it to basically have them have a. Now, in order for them to do it, they have to do something crazy, but like they can nuke it if they want to now as well.
Part of the SAC funds buying DAI was, you know, in my opinion, maybe a little bit having to do with like DAI's changes that were happening. Of course, DAI's, they're changing their name. It's USD Sky or whatever.
I think that's why he went to ETH.
Which means like, hey, PDI people, well, now you get to take over the brand. But like, why did Justin Sun and Richard Hart buy the top of ETH? Was it because like ETH was looking so good going into the ETF run, and Vitalik hadn't like, you know, made his plan to shit all over it yet? Or
a combination.
Or was it because there was changes happening with DAI governance at the time?
Personally, I'll take the opposite. I'll take probably the opposite on that. I actually think they dumped. They were scared of being USDC, so they just dumped into Ethereum. Because if you actually look at the change, I mean, this is what from what I saw is that as soon as they announced they're going to become an L1, which I had heard rumors for a long time. I was talking about this in the bear market, but as soon as they actually confirmed they're doing it, Vitalik dumped all his maker tokens on them. And, no, he did. He dumped all. He said,
"Bro, Ethereum went up 20% that week. That was like riches. Then all the people just buy market buy. Don't do a limit order. Like
that, it was politics.
So fast.
Somebody knew something.
No, it's not new. So everyone here is like, oh, like Vitalik dumped his tokens. He's like, fuck you guys. I'm not supporting you guys. You're basically kicked out of here. And then everyone started selling DAI into Ethereum.
So there was a culture change, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's just because the problem is because they're not going to attach to the main liquidity of that system. They're going to become their own L1. I think if they did an L2, they probably wouldn't have gotten as much trouble, and maybe Vitalik would have supported them a little bit. But like, they decided to make an L1. And it was another way for them to make more money, have more control, and they just I think basically the way Richard looked at it. Obviously, I'm talking for myself for Richard, but it's not Richard's own opinion. But if I look from the outside, strategically, it's like shit. This is too much risk. I can't risk the funds. Let me dump it into Ethereum. I know it's gonna be volatile, but I can't hold any major stablecoin because they get freeze funds.
It's like going to a shareholder meeting. You're no longer the company I thought you were. So Warren Buffett, so I divest. It's just simple because the story changed. You were supposed to be this kind of algorithmic stablecoin, can be a stock, can be whatever. Now you're about to do something that can potentially change that. Why take the risk? Because if you play the long-term game, which you talk about a lot in crypto, price can go up and down, but everybody know when you get ETH, that's yours. What do you think the hacker 1.4 billion? They could have get anything else at first. Why did they went for ETH? Because they know by the time they get it, maybe they launder it to Bitcoin, whatever. But by the time they get it and where they can exit the money.
Largest theft in human history, already laundered, what, 3 weeks later or something?
Kareem, this is what I was saying on the panel with you guys. Like, even though ETH has kind of gotten a really bad rep for like lack of utility, old tech, ETH Foundation dumping, the amount of liquidity that they have being like the second market cap, like that is just value in of itself. So you can move money around and it's like, it's hard money, or it's like it's liquid money that you can do things with actively.
It's still the biggest liquidity in DeFi, period.
And people shit on Ethereum too much. Like without Ethereum, we wouldn't have shit.
People are just angry at price appreciation. That's
100%. Yeah, but like I said this on stage, on the 369 tour and stuff, right? I said this that really like we've actually not gotten as much of a. I mean, we've done well. If you guys bought the lows, you did okay. It's really the it's kind of like. Let's just say kind of like in the third, maybe we're still in the second quarter and about to enter the third quarter, but like the second quarter has been kind of more lackluster. A couple of winners here, more like random coins, random meme coins pumping. Solana, which is the one that should have done the best, right? It went from $7 to $300. That's incredible. But for how much how much of the mind share they had in meme coins, that token should have gone up to like $800 by now, $600.
And the 1.618 was just at 410 or something. Like that one should at least hit new all-time highs, right? But
the interesting thing is you have all the major institutions, they keep buying Ethereum. Why?
Yes.
Why is Trump buying Ethereum? Why? It
why suck out all the liquidity from Solana and then bring it back over to Ethereum?
It's funny going through my X feed because it's like someone crying about the ETH price, and then the next one is like BlackRock just bought 50 million of ETH.
And the price has not moved at all.
And Maddie, we were talking about. I remember one of the show. I kind of narrowed down to 5 key things, which is one, what you guys were talking about. The big players are buying. Number 2, we always learn, if you're OG enough, learn how to be contrarian. When everybody tell you, go buy this, go buy this, it's been running up for so long, that's usually the beginning and the end because you're buying the top. You're typically the exit liquidity. And then also when you look at the fact that again, the decentralization aspect, the fact that Ethereum still has the most devs. I mean, people start to nitpick the data saying like, oh, but if you only talk about the from year to year, the new devs coming in, yes, some other chains got more devs, but the overall, they still ahead by a landslide. If you add all the L2 which rely on ETH2, it's like it's night and day. The best dev right now on crypto, they're still in the EVM world. You know what I mean? The biggest wallets overall, EVM world. So those are things that are not going to go away. And I think Richard is self-aware of that. That's why he hold the bag into that ecosystem.
Very little real DeFi in non-EVM chains compared to EVM chains, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I will say so. Like Fast Abdul, there's legit yield on his project and stuff like that. I mean, like I would like we are like as me and Charlie, we teach about this stuff. We go everywhere. There's really not that many chains where you can really yield. There's real DeFi. Now, DeFi, I mean, technically DeFi is just being able to send stuff, you know, but I'm talking about DeFi where you can yield. It's really just, it's PulseChain based protocol and Sonic. That's it.
Well,
you know, Hex is DeFi too.
Yeah, no, Hex is DeFi.
That's literally what we've been doing.
Absolutely.
Well, it's like, what do you call it? It's like more complex products that Wall Street would be interested in actually. Like, and that stuff is what we got PulseChain, we got Sonic, we got Ethereum. Solana, you could make an argument for. What other chains, like if you look at Metis, nothing's fucking going on there.
No.
Fucking, you look at Cardano.
Base,
Cardano sucks fucking
base.
balls.
Yeah,
right. PulseChain's only been out 3 years and it's kicked Cardano's ass over.
The volume, somebody talks about it all the time. It's a joke. The volume, us compare them, it's like, bro, they manipulate the market cap. Let's just call it what it is.
But Haskell.
and then Charles, you know, he's really good at playing those little marketing play. Oh, I just met Elon. Hey, I'm at SpaceX. Hey, I'm at the White House. Yeah, but like Fast Abdul was saying, like, where's the activity? Like, where's the
action.
Like the thing is not doing nothing.
Like, why did the market dump? When basically, I mean, Trump gave everyone what they wanted. Hey, we're gonna have a Bitcoin strategic reserve, except we're not gonna buy any more coins.
Right.
Which also means we're not buying Ethereum. We're not. I mean, we're not buying Cardano. We're not.
None of that.
We're not buying XRP, and that's why the market was having a bitch fit. Basically, he's like, what you guys were supposed to say. We're gonna print 1% of the supply forever. US dollar and buy coins. Right. That's what you're supposed to say.
Well, and then every like Rachel Maddow in the world would be like, "Ree."
Yeah, absolutely. You know? No, that's a really good point because you know some of the well friends that I had to be asking, "Oh, Kareem, what about this? What?" I said, "Bro, remember what I said. It's not about what they say. Watch what they do. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, there's only 2 ETF approved right now: Bitcoin, ETH. Those are the 2 you want to focus on. The other side, you hear his story until the thing gets approved. Don't go put the big bag and then you get rinsed and then you're like, what the hell just happened? Now, if you make your little quick play, you make your 100K, whatever, you were just on an exchange, you caught the pump, sheet went up 60% sale. Good for you. I'm very happy. But the whole, I'm going to hold the bag and be here long term now because you can return the whole move and some and you'll be like, what happened?
But why are you funding my Doge bag?
Doge is great. It's a meme. You already know what to expect.
I mean, I think I can explain like what the biggest difference is between Ethereum and PulseChain that actually matters to our bags.
Yes.
And that the biggest difference is the fact that I don't know that Vitalik wants the price of Ethereum to go up because he wants the network to be usable. He doesn't want to repeat the 2021 crisis where you couldn't use the chain. He wants 5-cent transactions, and you know, I don't know that you can get quite that with basically with having Gwei at 1 like it's been recently, but I can tell you that the whole reason Vitalik got into Bitcoin in the first place is that he got his digital gold. Okay, so he had video game trauma when he was 16. I don't know if you guys know that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, but the reason that Vitalik got into crypto in the first place is that some centralized middleman deleted his digital gold on a video game called RuneScape.
My bad.
And so
buying GF2.
That's one reason why I can't. That's a reason why I can imagine Vitalik never dumping the price in 2021 or today in order to make it so that your store of value is broken because he doesn't want to delete your digital gold.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, I know a founder who does believe in pumponomics. I know a founder who does want price appreciation, and it doesn't, you know, low fees, that's nice. That's a marketing point, and that can be true for a while. But if I really think if we had to choose, PulseChain would be the version of Ethereum that can be a store of value and price positive, no matter what the gas fees are. And if Ethereum wants to take over the job of having low fees, I think we could let him do it. But if Vitalik, if he wants the price to go sideways forever, what that's going to do is that's going to make Ethereum whales, you know, they're going to take care of the job for Vitalik because, you know, eventually they're going to let the price keep going sideways of Ethereum. You know, if Wall Street wants to buy our bags, they can FOMO into PulseChain and have something that actually is able to go up.
Right. Well, that's the question, right? So like PulseChain and Ethereum are totally different network effects in terms of where they're at in their growth curve, right? So if you're like, okay, let's put PulseChain where Ethereum's at now. If you're looking from a CEO level Vitalik's position, maybe one cycle price appreciation is not that important because what you're trying to do is let Wall Street in, try to let the most money in possible without, you know, fucking up the network basically. So the question is, do you think ETH will actually onboard that amount of money, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, you know, Fidelity, all these companies, and then actually have a performing chain over a few cycles and then have price appreciation?
The whales can offset that,
Okay.
I think. And if Vitalik wants to be an alien communist and make the price go sideways, I think he can. Now, Crypto Coffee told me tonight he doesn't think that Vitalik has enough power over the culture in order to stop the price from going up.
I think. Well, he just fired his entire foundation.
That's
exactly what I was about to
But
say.
the question is, if PulseChain were to be at the same growth curve of where Ethereum is now, what issues would they have to deal with, and how would they deal with them differently?
I have a great answer for you, and that's great because I think it really comes down to culture. I think some of us here have, you know, work in a high competitive environment or deal with like, you know, whether it's sales or CEO or whatever. What happened to Vitalik, you know, to give him a little bit of slack, is that the people that he started with, let's just call a spade a spade. They got too rich too fast, and now they're slowing down. They're resting on the laurels. People are slowing down. They talk about being nice. We don't care about competition, with all this sort of stuff. And this is something I always admire with Richard. And that's what he said. Like, I'm already retired. I'm literally here for the glory. Where it's like the money don't matter. It's like we want to win. And that's why our community are winners, and we attract winners. People that come to PulseChain, they're winner. They want to build, they want to grind because the leadership from the top is there. The mindset is clear. We're here, like, hostile takeover, baby. We're coming in. Like, you know, we want to come nicely, but if you don't want to open door, exchange, whatever, we'll find our own door. And you need that. But Vitalik, unfortunately, the people around him, they didn't have that. And thank God the firing, I think, is a good start because Wall Street people, at the end of the day, because I track the ETF all the time, they don't really care. They want to see people that have the same mindset of winning, because if you act like that, excuse my French, like a bitch a little bit, why are we going to bring the money? What's going to happen to our investment, right? What happened to ETF in general? Bitcoin, Ethereum, same. The higher the price go, the more winning, the more they want to put in, right? The more it start getting shady, bad thing, price dump. What do? They get rid of it. They buy even less of it. And this is where he needs to understand. You got to have winners. Everybody saw the video of Goldman Sachs CEO, the leaked video when he was talking shit to the. It's epic. You got to Google it. It's a leaked video. He was on his conference meeting. Right. And he told people, yo, get back to work. This is like, we're going to fix this. Got to get shit done.
Really quick, sorry to interject. I got to catch my flight.
No,
Stay with us.
Rugged.
I know, party pooper, but thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming. Yeah, have a good one.
Go follow Crypto Sloth. His series on liquidity providing is phenomenal. Like, I still see it recommended in the chats to this day.
Yep. Go to my channel, it'll take you from 0 to 80, and you got to get yourself the other 20. You got to do it. I can't teach you everything, but I can get you something.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Good to see you.
See you guys.
So you have, so you have one founder who literally says in writing, literal words, that he's against winning, and then you have a founder that's for winning, and they're a copy of each other. Could we see much greater price appreciation in PulseChain versus ETH? And why hasn't that happened yet?
So I could tell
because Ethereum controls retail market in terms of their sentiment for wanting to get in.
Right, but it's even, there's even a greater thing. This is a big discussion that needs to happen with founders. Like, so very few people, I mean, it's a lot of people if you look at it, but it's a very small amount of people have ever been in the position where they're the head of a corporation that's on the stock market. Right. And I think this is not, and we've all playing these little tippy toe games because nobody wants to get in trouble. But if you launch a meme coin, you're essentially the CEO founder of a corporation that has a stock ticker. If you launch an L1 meme coin, utility project, I mean, project and stuff, and unless it doesn't have a token, you are basically the CEO and the public face of your corporation, and nobody wants to. And that's the whole part of like, wait, me, Charlie said, you don't escape work, right? and those are the things because
you build your own prison and you want to live in it. If you make a nice one, if you're going to do it, right?
Cage.
Yeah,
the things you own end up owning you.
Yeah, and I don't think these celebrities realize what damage they're doing actually to their brand because it isn't just like, oh, I launched a shitty album, that's it, or like a T-shirt no one bought. Oh, who cares?
Exactly.
But them selling their likeness or them launching a coin is going to hurt them so long term because essentially they're like, I'm a really bad CEO. I'm a really bad operator. And that whole thing you were talking about, they want people to perform, right? Like I can tell you why, we've done okay. We've done okay in PulseChain really. And if you actually look at like our coins versus Ethereum, where we've beaten Ethereum, but anyone could beat Ethereum. Let's be honest. Anybody. I mean, Cardano beat Ethereum, bro. That's all you got to know.
So bad. It got so bad. People resting on their laurels. People don't understand that. I say this all the time. Like, fast money comes with slow problems. Slow problems stays forever. And sometimes by the time you realize that, it's too late. And you can use that from business, shorties, OnlyFans, whatever. It's like, it's always later than you realize, oh shit, I should have done it this way. Because if you want to build to last, you got to have that culture of excellence. You got to push the extra mile, not just be like, hey, we made it already. Like, no, you always got to look at it like stay broke, not poor. Like, it's just like understand the mindset and keep grinding, keep pushing. And you want to be around the same people. There's another study that says when you're around high performing individuals, you want to compete, you want to do better. When you're around negative people or lazy people, you want to do even less. It's the same thing.
So we're at a PulseChain conference. Why hasn't the price of PulseChain gone up yet?
Because Richard's not on YouTube.
That's true.
That's a good point.
That's bro, in absolute terms.
He goes live, that shit's gonna break the internet, bro.
Because he doesn't because every other person that's been put in position to like do something, they've just essentially fucking dropped the ball. Basically,
like what?
I mean, they're launching tokens, the sacks. They're like fucking just failing L's after L's after L's. No work ethic. I'm being serious now. Sure, they launched the project and then they fuck off and you don't see them again, or they're anonymous. I mean, fuck, I can keep going. I mean, literally, I'm not even wrong about it.
How many anonymous founders have we gotten rugged by recently?
all of them and shit. Like,
yeah, 99.9%.
Now, this is a big thing. Why is B-Root so successful as an example with his coins? Because he promotes them every day. Because he shows up. He believes, and he doesn't change his story. It isn't Teddy Bear today, fucking clown show tomorrow. It's if you go back, Teddy Bear. Today, like a week ago, Teddy Bear. A month ago, TeddyAr. A year ago, Teddy Bear.
But Focus Center has all the Pokemon, bro.
Right. Like even like guys who have pretty semi-successful like actual like projects right now on PulseChain. Yeah. They're not. I don't see them on YouTube. You almost have to like. I almost have like me and Charlie almost sometimes have to like, hey, you mind if we do a stream? We have to go to them. Like at some point, like I just like I'm not gonna knock on your fucking. I'm not gonna knock on your channel to get you on here, bro. Like if you have an I don't want to say the names because I literally could call out like fucking 80% of founders on PulseChain right now. Right now. They don't contact us. Yeah. Seriously. And like they don't contact Maddie. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like very rarely it's like pulling fucking hair because they're all trying to stay anonymous. Why? Because if your project fucking fails, people might come after you. Well, pussy, you launch a project.
They would rather steal money than actually work.
And Miguel, you hit it on the head. What they don't understand is you have to have what's called founder mindset. Like, don't think you have arrived. Look at it like expect to fail. Failure is not something bad. You fail on the way to success. Like, it's kind of like how we always say also the bear market is the best time to accumulate. If the shit already shoot up so much, you can't really accumulate. You don't actually get the mad gains. You get the mad gains because everybody bounced. Nobody believed. You were there. You were grinding. Boom. Anybody that work at a corporation or any type of like very, very small entities that start like startups, it's the same thing. Expect to actually start like, oh, it's not going to do well. Expect the beginning, the coin's going to drop because nobody's going to have the vision and see it right away but you. And you have to be that guy driving it to make people see it. The first time we were talking about, like staking, people looking like, huh? DeFi, huh? What's going to, like, internet money? Like, we have to be there, repetition.
It'll be a last man standing thing for PulseChain for founders, right? Like the guys who are still standing here on the screen a year from now are going to be the ones that
Bill, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Why is your project still alive?
I show up every day.
Boom.
Is that
it? I'm on the screen 6 days a week.
Bro, this guy super chats my channel. I know he's like, the bribes.
And I will say one more thing for Fast Abdul, which is good, is that not only he's there for his party, but he takes the time Like he comes to the show with Maddie and everything, and he barely. That's why I have so much respect, because he didn't come out. Let me share my thing. That no, what's the discussion? Let's talk about everything. He didn't try to annihilate community members of this, that. He believed that hey, this is what's going on. We're all in the one boat. Some are a little bit more maximum. That's okay. I'm a little bit of everywhere. I want to learn for everybody, and I want to share, not shove it down your throat because we don't like that.
Maddie shows, we talk about most of the hacks, right? But then people see me, they recognize me. We can have a discussion. You guys are actually we're the toughest nuts to crack. This is the first time I've been on your show. I've been with RHMax probably
Another
6
thing,
times.
you never
just about
asked.
everybody else.
No, because this is
a good sign.
Like life, like ABC always be closing.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah,
Always it's sales, getting girls is sales, getting
Yep.
money is sales. I mean,
Everything.
getting on YouTube is sales. Doing everything is fucking sales, damn near. Obviously, with a little conscience, you can't be an asshole. But like selling, you have to sell yourself. I mean, like
and don't be fake.
Yeah,
because
don't
guess
be
what?
fake.
That
Yeah,
shit is
so-
recorded. Is gonna be able to see that. But number one, again, obscurity is your enemy. If I don't know you, I cannot flow you. Whether you see them good or bad, even the scammers, as fucked up as it sounds, they're everywhere. They're seen everywhere. They will spend crazy on marketing just to try to be everywhere. And then the mom and pop that don't know nothing about nothing will be like, well, but I saw it on TV. I saw it now. Da, 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 da. It must be good. And then,
so look, I have a friend of mine on the Sonic side, right? Super hardworking guy, made a product for sure, and then he jumps on everyone's streams that he possibly can to launch and his project is literally now like top 5 in terms of fees generated
versus somebody he was
on all of crypto.
Versus somebody he was somewhat partnered with in terms of, social media wise, not doing fucking shit, and everybody being pissed off. Like, and it's like, oh, if I don't do as much, right, maybe people will forget about it. No, people
especially if
fucking
they lost
remember.
money. Bro, I know people, if they know where you're at, they'll pull up on you, be like, bro, where's my money? Like, no, don't even do that.
You gotta
And again,
show up on the bad days too. Right?
exactly.
True.
You actually get more
Because
respect.
there will be bad days.
There will be bad days.
Yeah.
You actually get more onboarding and more respect when you show up on the bad day. When you're hurting and you're hurting with the community, so to speak, like, hey, we're here, we're together. Like, I didn't scam you. I'm like, bro, I'm down too. Matter of fact, I got more money down than you. Like, you have no idea, probably by a factor of 10. But I'm gonna show you that we're gonna be here together. We're gonna grind out of here. And then when we get the W, we get rid of all the fake friends and the people who pretend to be, but they're not. And then when we're winning, we get more tight. And then now we want to build each other.
So I don't know how many streams I did where it's like, man, it sucks right now. The market's down, whatever, and everyone's like, oh, Twitter's just going crazy and stuff. And it's like, well, this is the time you need people to be around.
Right.
That's that like motivates me to stream the most.
that's
Like
where you
I know
make
people are
your
looking for like, oh, you made my day. Like you need to, they need to hear, they need to reiterate like why we're here in the first place.
Yeah,
And that's
have you
how-
heard-
so exactly why are we here?
Have you heard from people yet, like that were watching you in the bear market and said like I hear from people every once in a while, they're just like, oh, like the fact that you were calm when everything was like a shitstorm, like gave me more confidence to enter this market. And like, I don't know what kind of comments do you get, because like the
I've got
consistency
comments
that
where
you
it's
do
like I needed
is
this
really
today and
good.
stuff like that. And that's it motivates me because I know people are out there and they don't, they tune in sometimes, don't know what's going on half the time, and they're kind of lost. They're like, I put the money in, don't know where it's going now. Twitter's a wreck. I don't know what's going on. So we need people to go create content, go make positive stuff. There's a lot more benefits to being positive than being negative most of the time anyways.
Yep.
I got to say, I think the marketing thing doesn't make sense to me because I think we have such good case studies on both sides of the aisle. And there's one that's even like kind of ironic. You were talking about how the founders who want to be anonymous, they're worried about the fear and rejection. I think this is already getting memory hold.
No, fear of getting arrested.
Fear of arrested. But we already had,
Fear
I
of
think
the
it's getting
DOJ.
memory hold, which is that we had a bunch of people come out with like the personal brand and the personality tokens. And people have just immediately forgotten all about that. It could just be because crypto moves fast.
In this cycle or last cycle?
This cycle, it was like about, I think it was almost a year ago.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, people were launching just like straight up, like it's just my name is the token.
No. So
Right.
well, yes, but that was really which I never given permission to. I do like Gary Woods ended up launching a bunch of coins of all the influencers. None of us asked him to.
Yeah.
0 fucking %. That's why I never promoted it, because I was like,
Yeah.
and now he's like, hey, this will be a cool experiment. I like Gary Woods a lot. He's
A
homie.
smart
He's a
guy,
friend.
best networker in the whole chain.
But that was kind of like you forced our hand
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, and so I didn't promote it for shit. Yeah, but like obviously I think Access ran with his right, but
That's where Maddie token came from.
yeah,
Well, and everybody gave you
yeah.
shit for that, and you didn't have anything to do with it at the beginning in terms of creating it, right?
Yeah, that's really beneficial, like to be able to honestly say, like, yeah, I didn't create this token, but yeah, the entire supply is accounted for. And now you can start to see what happens with Maddie token. That's really similar to what happens to the OA bags and the sacrifice bags and stuff like that. And so when we think about the game theory, right, like Kareem, Fast Abdul, and I, we've been streaming every week for about 220 weeks, all in all, about game theory. And so, yeah, like we are very interested in predicting and understanding what are the moves that the origin address has in Hex, PulseChain, PulseX.
Yeah, the other half of the point I was trying to make is what we were talking about a few days ago, which is like there's all the celebrities, and it's kind of like the rug pull stuff, which is, hey, we're going to make a tweet, and then you just pretend you got hacked, and if the token goes poorly, it's stuff like that. But the other half of the point is that, like, even for you guys, when you guys launch a course, what do you do?
What do you mean?
Like you do a world press
tour.
Yeah,
exactly.
It goes back to, like, if you want stuff to do well, you got to market it. Even if it's just like the course, if it's a token, it's like that stuff is so clear, it doesn't make sense why people don't do it.
It's fear, laziness. I mean, part of it too. Like, I mean, like usually, like if a person, the projects that usually got most of the money, right, were because they had a face to it, right? And I can name. I'm not gonna keep naming these projects, but like there's projects out here that did have people as the face of it, and then they left the company, and then got replaced with somebody else, and then they left the company. So, and then now no one knows who the face of these companies are. Really, they kind of know, but not really. So yeah, if you launch a token and it's your face, it's going to do better than a token of an anonymous guy. And I've said this forever with guys. Like I've had guys tell me, like, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. I told them, my brother in Christ, it's going to be difficult to start a channel if you don't show your face. I know guys in Hex, and Maddie knows people in Hex too. There's guys like. All right, fuck, I don't want to talk shit because I like something, but like
you
it's
love
like
talking shit.
No, but it's like they're like they're actually like friends and they're really cool. But like the reason they haven't blown up as much is because they don't show their fucking face because no one trusts. Because in crypto, right, if you don't show your it's gotten to the point now there's so much rugs. If you don't show your face, no one really trusts you. And then you have to talk, or you have to then start saying ridiculous shit and tweeting out like a maniac versus. Doink. Now sometimes I understand if you have a job. I got friends of mine also that don't show their face as well. That because they're working and they got jobs. That's understandable. And but like, you know, but you can build a brand, but you can get through it through hard work. But I think people that, like, as they get into it, start noticing, it's a Mount Olympus level of work to get around to be shadowy.
It's a really American thing, I find, where a lot of Americans, we tend to favor intensity over consistency.
Exactly.
And so, like, I'd rather go all in on the one thing, and then, like, if it doesn't pan out, okay, I tried, versus showing up the days where you don't feel like showing up, the days you're down, the days the market sucks. And I got to give a ton of credit to the tour and everyone who showed up. You know, look, there's a number of us here in studio right now. Look how many founders, creators, and like showed up to the tour from all over the country, all over the world this weekend. You could do meet and greets and get to know them face to face, and
except for Money Game Crypto. I'm just joking.
I wasn't gonna show my face, but then I saw Hexologist, RG3, and Dollar Cost Crypto, and that was the norm. And so I just went into the culture of how it was, and I'm really grateful to the people who built the culture that we're building on now.
Me, I just saw Richard Hart, so I already knew. And then once again, repetition is the mother of all skills. Like, you know, showing up is 80% of the win. And a lot of the time, it's just like, you just got to be there to show people who you are, because it helps you also fight the FUD, because you'll never be able to be like, oh, but what if he rugs? No, but he's not going to rug. But but we don't see his face. What if? And then you got these imaginary or parables that you're trying to solve where you can just be there and then be like, well, that solves it. Because you're sucking it out of them so they can't use that. A hater can't say, oh, what about this? What about that? Boom, it's right there. That's why we love blockchain. That's why we love it's trustless trust. You don't need to trust me. It's right there on the blockchain. Go check it.
But being able to see somebody's face, like, there's definitely a connection to the brand. And the next level is things like the PLS 369 conference here, where you actually meet in person. Like, it's the first time.
Shout out to RG.
Any of you guys.
It's been a really well done conference.
And Kaylin too. Kaylin got her flowers.
Yep.
Kaylin,
I think part of the proof of the conference doing so well is that it's grown massively, even over the course of the last year.
Right.
If you remember, between now and last year, we only just got the Richard Hart motion to dismiss like a week and a half ago, effectively.
Right.
So in that time, the conference like more than doubled, because last year was one day, it was some smaller panels. This time around, it was 2 full days of panels nonstop with 4 people like minimum. So the community is absolutely growing, and the proof is in the pudding in that. It's people showing up with their faces too.
So why hasn't the price gone up yet?
Well, Jeter's gonna cheat.
So
tell me.
Legit. All right, we're extremely light. We're extremely bonded and kind of reflective of Ethereum.
Yes.
Ethereum hasn't before, and then this is, I really believe conspiratorially, this has been on purpose in order for them to basically the larger entities have been putting pressure on other people in order to create selling pressure on Ethereum, and also put pressure on even L2 founders. They're like, if you guys are like this is a US led cycle this time around. You guys are fucking crazy. They're not using the 3-letter agencies on fucking founders.
Are you telling me it's all Nancy?
And I did an interview with Richard, and Richard
said
to my I was on stream, but on stream to my face told me that was bullshit. That's not true. It's being proven to be true. It absolutely has happened. The 3-letter agencies are absolutely in crypto. Of course, they've got their they've been around for a long time. They've got their money and influence everywhere. They like Stanford. I mean, think of any college. They're also in there with the research. Also got their hands. The VCs are in there. There's pressure in meetings and things. Just like in stocks, it's happening right now. We've now been hitched. We're a part of the S&P or the Nasdaq. We're that 8th sector now, 9th sector, and this is why like my students been asking me, right? Oh, the prices are down right now. Why? Did something happen in crypto? No. No, what happened? Stocks are down because of trade war. Is it our fault? No.
Well, and also over the last couple of years, if you look at the graph of savings per household in America on average in 2021, because the stimulus and all that stuff, people were at all-time high in terms of numbers of dollars wise
value.
Exactly. Probably not actual value, right? But the chart was highest in savings, and now people are back mainly in debt. And so if you go out here to the casinos, you ask the casinos, are they making money? Yeah, they're making money. But compared to last year, a lot of their revenue is fucking down big.
So are there Trumps trying to buy cheap ETH or what?
That's what he's doing.
Okay.
That's reason one, right? Like Ethereum not doing good. 2,
people don't have money.
Okay, that's sure.
Or not as much money.
Not as much money as we had, right?
Right.
I guess I'll say 3.
And guys, it's not just Trump. Citadel's coming in as well. They're going to be liquidity provider. It's money. RWA is going to come. What do you think is going to build up? Ethereum for the most part. So it's everything they want to fud the lower price because.
But I want to know why it's not doing well now. I think those are bullish cases.
Yeah,
they want to keep the price artificially low, man.
Because
that's when they buy. That's what I don't understand.
Richard's been put in handcuffs. He's basically not been streaming. He's done 2 streams.
Yes,
he's done 2 streams.
Oh, talking about PulseChain specifically, or ETH?
Well, you guys are giving your thesis on
it's not thesis, it's fact.
Well, which is because that affects
because on PulseChain, I can tell you right now, the liquidity is the lowest.
At least he tweets, which is really great. And the bullish things he's been doing recently, he's pumped out tires. Actually, we were all shocked by it, but then it was it was really cool actually. So,
burning PulseX now.
So he's being super more active, but he's getting super more active as the case was almost getting thrown out already. So he was getting more ballsy. He won the case. It's been dismissed because he can't win. He won, cool. And now what everyone's waiting for is he going to get back on YouTube to start? Because we need a CEO figure. As much as we try to say decentralized, it's all bullshit.
People want to follow.
Name a coin. I can tell you the founder. I can tell you the guy leading it. Cardano.
Charles Hutchinson.
Polkadot.
Yeah. When is Satoshi going to show his face?
$2.
No, it's not that.
No. Watch this. Now watch this. Yeah, but it can become so big, right? Like who's the head of Christianity? Jesus Christ. Exactly. It's not the Pope. It's not really sure. It's the Pope.
CEO of Christianity.
How many popes are there?
There's a power structure there.
No,
and it goes up to
they die and they don't come back.
There's multiple popes. Yeah. Now the main pope everyone thinks about is obviously is Catholic Pope, right?
Yeah.
Right. Big dog, right? But there's how many sects of religious groups are there in Christianity and Catholicism? A lot.
Yeah.
And even then, right? The UK made their own version just because he wanted to get divorced, so he could just keep fucking bitches.
Wow.
Facts.
Thanks, England.
Facts. Shout out England. And then Russia has theirs too as well.
That's true.
There's multiple popes. There's a black pope too. Yes, there is. And then Ethiopians, bro. I keep dropping. I keep dropping this facts.
So you're saying we need to fork Rackham out, and then everything will be good.
Yes, but all jokes aside, right? All jokes aside, okay, so that's I think the community would like that. But then that's a slippery slope, and you can't do it.
Right. That was all jokes by me. People were really upset with me for tweeting that, but I didn't mean it.
Guys, you got to remember, it's pure DeFi. It's something I've said to Ogama, asking me the same thing. I was like, at the end of the day, what do you think is shut off a little bit of the yield? Because with pure DeFi, you can affect the price and hit the chart. But you can only do, once you shut off the valve and the ink and the whatever, you can only do it one last time. After that, you get left behind. Everybody's worried about the price, not understanding that liquidity is the lowest that he has ever been.
So why did that
which is
happen?
bullshit.
Why did the yield go lower?
Because he wants to pump. He's trying to get everything in line to get it going.
Incentive
It's
is
a
like
cold hard calculus to
Sounds
say
bullish.
No, and I'm saying it's bullish, but we're entering that phase. But for like, all right, outside
And he
of
tweeted about
outside
it.
of pumped out tires, right?
Yeah.
There's this huge swath about a year, nothing happened.
Right.
The whole year, and then we did have the Christmas stream, which I was like, yeah, that's nice. It is nice. I was like,
No, that was
I was
really
happy
good.
to see it because everyone was saying fucking Richard died and Richard's brother not took over. And
So,
shit.
so you guys are saying
Shout
that
out to Shane.
it's the people selling today 10% down PulseChain that they're retarded.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course they are.
100%.
No, of course they are.
Right.
Of course they are.
Of
So,
course they
so
are.
the last three things that nobody expected to happen on PulseChain,
Okay.
the last few weeks, right?
Yes.
Pumped out tires.
Yes.
Who called Meme Factory? Maybe
Exactly.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody did. Richard
OA
updated his
staking.
worldview. Yep.
Okay, staking, slashing hex yield way down.
Right.
Make that go different.
Ink noms
Yep.
turn way down.
Same.
Right.
Three things nobody's seen coming. Why would it happen? Are we going from season of yield to season of price appreciation? Like,
The
is there
OA
any other
bought,
explanation?
the OA
Everything
bought
points to
1.5
that.
million.
Yes. I have what I think a good logical explanation that I would say, because once people understand really the value of bond yield, which I love to explain into Hex, is that Richard also put it on his tweet when he was explaining where there's so much value, and those who do LP understand that you don't see in the chart. There's people that are literally making 100, and I know some of them person is, and shout out to them or whatever, but they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month doing nothing. And what Richard was also saying on his tweet is like, bro, like Miguel was saying, you're not active, you're just here siphoning value because he left that yield very high for a purpose to remind everybody, don't worry about the price, you're going to be taken care of. But you're not active, you're not promoting, you're just siphoning value and then going somewhere and just dumping. Right. So F you, lock the door, because the real long-term people, they're not doing rotation stakes, they're not doing small here and there, they're already in the long term.
He wanted
so
them to
he wants
pull
to
liquidity.
flush out those non-believer, because by the way, all this lock, whatever, he just hit an EES and send you the money back. You know what I mean? So it's just temporarily to starve those people out, which, by the way, to answer your question, why the liquidity got pulled, because some of those scavengers that was just on PulseChain, I'm PulseChain, but you're not really here. You're here for the yield now. You know, you're not here long term. So get out. So now we keep to the core believer, keep the liquidity low, just like Hex back in the day. And because it's so low, you put a 10,000 ETH in there, you 5x the price, and everybody chased. And
These
now you see the
prices-
green candle.
These prices aren't real. When you lower the liquidity 4x, the price is 4x less real. And
Exactly.
so
The
for
volatility
me,
increase.
I put a year's worth of living expenses into PulseChain last night.
Whoa, there you go.
Because
Nice.
because I think everybody's retarded.
Not think
I
you
really
know,
do.
you know.
Yeah, with low liquidity, price can go up harder too. But also, there's nothing to take out now.
Exactly.
There's much less to take out as far as stable.
But when you want to go into bull mode, it's the best tactic. Here's why. Because let's say the hater that's here temporarily, right? First, you starve him from the yield because he's been dumping consistently for a month, hundreds of thousands. And because the liquidity was so thick, you can sell $100,000. Your slippage will be like 3%. That's how gangster at DeFi. Some coins, you put $1,000, the thing goes to zero. So just you want to starve those people out, give them one last bag of ink to get rid of. After that, it's not going to reload. Same thing with the Hex people that was just doing the rotation. Well, the yield is down now, so you can't just dump 100 because this. I know people who are doing literally 500 million Hex rotation.
Look, one of my favorite things to do. And I said this on. Did I say this on the? I may have not said it on the conference today, but like, no, I did actually. Now that I remember. Look who was treating like retards the last couple weeks. Exactly. That's the guys who lost all their rolling stake money.
Exactly.
Why is everyone starting to fucking lose their fucking money? What? Fuck Richard. Fuck Richard. How
And
could you
that's
fucking do this to
why,
me?
just like those, those are the ones squealing on the internet because they were the one literally they were just dumping.
The guys crying were the ones that were dumping the prices. There you go. That's exactly. You want to know who? Right there.
Another
Stop
way
them.
to look at it is that the OA, maybe the what is it, the sushi swap chef or whatever, the person who's controlling the ink yield.
Right.
I mean, that master chef must have been pretty confident in things or be willing to see the price go down to new all-time lows. I don't know that we're at all-time lows right now in PulseChain, but it's for the PLS ticker, you're at what, 36% of SAC rate. Those are juicy prices. And so, for the ink yield to be lowered in order to force the liquidity lower, it might be that the market maker is confident that things are going to work out, or that, because you don't want people to get too good at deals. You don't want PLS to go to 10% of SAC rate.
I think it's
not the
beyond
good
the bad
deals.
deal. It's just the behavior of the people. I've always got good deal. My yours, but because I'm really long term, I can literally just understand that, hey, I'm choosing not to sell until the price get to a certain degree because that's the best marketing I can do. I can allow the green candle. It's like Richard was saying, we have so many dumb people that sell on the 2x, on the 3x, not understand that we're trying to do 50x, 100x. You're going to get paid. Just chill the fuck out. And those people, they don't understand because I watched this monitor many times. It goes to the low, then the ink gets distributed, all this other stuff. Then we're trying to pump. We go 006, 07, and then the dumbass start dumping the price down. Literally, they just got the yield a month ago, 2 months ago, and they're selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth. So it's just like, bro, you're already very rich, wealthy. Why are you not letting the price
But
push?
when
So
people
that's why he's saying,
understand the
fuck this.
opportunity.
I'm going to turn off the valve, lower the ink, because the long-term believer, I'm going to let it fly anyway, and then we can run.
So let me get into something right here. Let's just say I wanna believe that, like, let's say maybe Richard's getting tired and he did want to leave, right? I think like what people have to do is you have to take a page out of stock, like look at stocks and how they work and how just look at the CEO and how's a CEO, like founder CEO is a pretty powerful position because it's usually it's a lot of finessing in order to get it over to a new CEO that people like.
Yep.
Right. So it's all. Let's just say
fail. We know that.
Yeah. Right. So look at Richard. Right. Let's just say Richard didn't want to get out as an example, right? Which he doesn't. But I'm just as an example, right? Let's just say he wants to leave. He's like, after the cycle, we do crazy, woo, and then he's starting to get a little tired. Maybe he's like, we got lots of glory here. I think I'm gonna go into the political space, maybe, or I don't know, right? And Richard would have to either die and become sanctified. He's like, now we have our Satoshi, and seriously, to get out, right? Or he says, hey, well, I'm over here in political land. I have put this person in charge. He's a smart guy. We are still talking and everything like that. He's going to be leading. It has to be a handoff.
Does it have to be a single person, or can it be two big community?
No. Well, no,
Like
it could be a group
DAO.
of
A
people.
DAO system.
What did Satoshi do? What did Satoshi do?
Yeah. No, DAOs are fake too. It's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bullshit. It's like,
Yeah, but what did Satoshi do?
he died. Or
He gave Gavin Andreessen when he went to the CIA and said, I'm going to give a presentation on Bitcoin. He said, peace.
The three-letter agencies are never not worse.
Right.
Satoshi lowered the inflation.
Okay.
You said, what did Satoshi do?
No, I'm saying
So,
expound. Yeah.
So but honestly, I don't think Richard's going anywhere.
No, this is a type, but I'm using it
Right.
as an example to show you. We have look, we're all playing games here. I know, like he's like, yeah, sacrifice. You know what I mean? DAO, okay, cool. Foundation, okay.
Yes.
You know, like, oh, this decentralized, yield token, meme to. Come on, we all like it. Now, I'm not going to say because we have to play these semantics until laws written in place. So there's protection so people don't go to why the best talent in all of cryptocurrency came from the States, then moved abroad. Why there's so many island boys? Why there's so many Dubai boys? Why is everyone moving out of the UK? Well, I know why.
Yeah.
But,
but I mean, they felt almost kicked out because it got so bad. They had to leave.
You couldn't do it,
Not
right?
You only have a choice. You know what I mean?
The market's evolving. It's being US led. We're going to see in
Thanks to Trump.
July 20th.
Trump is the reason.
The working group's going to come out with, finally some doctrine, and we might actually see what's a US like the big story this year is what's a US.
What's the criteria?
What's the criteria to be a US crypto company? Is it just having an LLC here, being a U.S.
I think there's going to be there's multiple criteria,
right,
for sure.
And then also
being sufficiently decentralized.
Because at that point, then someone could come out and say, "Yo, this is this. I'm doing everything above board," and then boom. Now you're kind of free. I mean, you're kind of you still have to follow some laws or whatever. But that's what people are waiting for. And that's actually going to be probably the moment they actually release things. This is when the VC projects and some of the U.S. based projects and these more corporate projects are going to. This is when the real razor wire comes into crypto.
Yes.
The Wild West is dying at that point.
And the timing is actually perfect.
It's never dead, but it's going it's going to start getting very corporate. Like we're going to be a very stock market system and stuff because I mean they're just look.
12th sector of the S&P has come.
Yeah, because now you're gonna first of all you're gonna have rule of the land, which is cool. The timing is actually perfect because that's why I love macro so much because the reason why Ethereum's got hit also very, very hard, beyond the Vitalik stuff. And this is something somebody talks about too, which is cool. Is because what's called the business ISM is down right now. We're still in what's called quantitative tightening. The Federal Reserve is actively still removing liquidity from the system. So the other time that people don't realize when ETH was doing the typical alt season cycle, whatever, we were in expansion. It wasn't in removing the money. But now you can actually speculate that with what's going on, tariff, this, that. Market's always forward thinking. They already knew. They're just using Trump as an excuse. But what is happening is that yes, stock market going down actually might end up being a bullish thing because it makes it worse so that the Fed stop taking liquidity out of the system. If you keep actively removing it out of the system, what the thing is dumping, it's going to literally collapse and liquidate even more people. So that's why the yield's been going down. DXY has been going down. We got $7 trillion of debt we got to refinance as a country coming up in the summer. So the timing on everything, like literally, it's almost picture perfect. We're going into Q2, which is really good. It's going to be sunny. People are going to be like ready to like DeFi summer type stuff. That's why I think the RWA is going to come in. That's what Trump is loading up on the ETH. That's why Citadel is trying to get all the liquidity.
Sell your
and
bags now.
flood
Sell
all
your
the
bags. Sell
bars.
your bags, bro. It's over.
Exactly.
It's over.
So, yeah,
Dump it here, you guys. Dump it here. I'll buy it.
Exactly.
I just want to take a moment to remind World Liberty Fi has money on PulseChain. The airdrop. FYI, that keeps going under the radar. I feel like there's the other a few weeks ago, I looked up, it was like $85,000.
Was that wallet active during the snapshot?
Was it active during the snapshot?
Yeah, to get the.
Oh no, somebody sent them. Somebody sent them a lot of the coins.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody airdropped
How
some
much?
coins that
How much?
that are
80,000.
I think it's around 80,000 last time I checked.
80,000.
Yeah, so they have money on PulseChain.
Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah,
so
that's starter number.
so
It's not
here-
some gas money.
Well, let me.
Because hopefully they don't pull a Vitalik and just dump shit.
Hey, well, the headline is, "Hey, World
Free
Liberty
money is
Fi knows
free
about Pulse. They're making moves on PulseChain.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll turn it into something, okay?"
So let me ask you guys a question because I think there's something special about Miguel and Charlie that I don't know. I haven't ever heard anybody talk about it, but it's this idea that you guys talk about PulseChain and you're kind of you're big onboarders into the space. And when I look at the actual statistics of how important PulseChain is as a network, it's the top 4 in volume.
Right.
Out of all cryptos, top 4. And now you guys have onboarded, in my estimation, about 10% of that ecosystem of people in PulseChain. You've onboarded 10%. And so you guys, as in my estimation, you are the only Poseidons of onboarding
That's a good one.
in the
Sorry,
top
10%.
5 cryptos in the world.
That's crazy.
And I don't think that there is anybody in Bitcoin. I don't think that there's anybody in Bitcoin. I don't think that there's anybody in Ethereum that has not been the founder and has been somebody to onboard 10% of a top
That's incredible.
5% or a top 5
You guys have a great
crypto.
job.
And so my question to you guys really is like, so what does it mean to be a successful community? And as people who are non-founders, what can people do to be leaders? What does it mean to be the best community in crypto?
I mean, the first thing is like you guys were saying before. I mean, Fast Abdullah said it, like show up to work every goddamn day. Like it doesn't have to be 7 days of the week. You have to have Sunday. You have to have a few days off or
Sleep
whatever.
in the bear market.
Yeah, exactly. Or like take it like we're fucking running the midnight oil here. Exactly. But like that's the first thing. It's like that's a minimum qualification.
Yes.
But most people can't do that. And like, but everybody at this table has done that, which is why we got you guys here.
It's just basically like Rolling Stone doesn't gather no moss, right? So it's just always in motion. Like you get things done. That's why Fast Abdul has a community and he has a project because he's out there all the time. I see him in every video. I just look around there. There's Fast Abdul.
He's like randomly in the chat. So I'm like, cool.
Fast puts in work.
It's putting in work, doing that stuff. Also doing video, like RH2 did tons of work when like in the bear market too. Like everyone here actually that had their channel there was streaming when it wasn't cool to stream. And this is what I was, I've talked to Kyle about this and I've told him about other streamers and stuff that like they show up right when the market gets really hot, and then half of them actually have a really hard time even getting their channel off the ground because they can't get an audience really. And then the other half does explode, but then from there can't maintain it and then get depressed and leave because they were like, oh, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Wow, so easy. And then
fun times.
And like even us that were trying really hard at the time. I mean, we saw like what 80% collapse.
Well, yeah, and part of it is also expectation setting, right? Like, are you gonna get your community like overly hyped, or are you gonna set their expectations properly, right? And be like, this is what's possible. And like crypto has crazy amount of X's, crazy amount of things that can happen. If PulseChain does a 30x from where we're at, if it does a 50x, if it does a 100x, if it does a 1000x, all those things are good, right? But like, if you set your expectations like unrealistically, like Samson Mao saying $1 million Bitcoin doesn't seem so crazy now in 2025. No, motherfucker, it seems fucking crazy because you're retarded.
But
it makes
you
no
guys,
sense.
you guys are gonna make more millionaires than anybody else in crypto. I think that's what I think. And so
He keeps trending the right way.
And the thing is, you've already done that. So can you speak to like what it's like to be leaders who are out there making millionaires, unlike other?
Just be yourself. Be honest. Like people value legit, like people who are trying to like actually do something positive, right? Like it's not that complicated. Like I'm from Minnesota. We have Midwest values of you fucking sell, you don't oversell, you over deliver, right?
Yeah.
And like if you can do just that, like it's not that hard. If you can just do that, you will be successful. That's all it takes. It's not that hard.
And it shows more about your character and what you are as a person, which is what's good. There's a quote that I like, which is funny. It's not religious, but it's very inspirational. It said, what's easy, right? What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Therefore, it is hard. Let me say it again for the audience. What's easy to do is also, by definition, right? Not easy to do. Therefore, it is hard because people take things for granted, like, waking up, brushing your teeth, things like that. And those who are consistent, those who become like, it's automatic. They're so predictable. Like, hey, where's Miguel? Boom, he's at work. He's there, he's that. Like, you will know, you will see that person every day. Now you build that trust. Now you know that bull market, bear market, it doesn't matter. People are desensitized about the price.
Right.
That's what we love talking about in the community as a whole. Even Paul said, long-term thinking, right? Delayed gratification. Those things that became catchphrase, but they really have that ethos. Like we're trying to get people retired. We're trying to get people to be like, you can eat, breathe, crypto, and then just move on. Not just like, hey, let me catch a bag, make a little swap, double my money, and then bounce.
Yeah.
Like no.
I mean, this is what me and Charlie do. We work in we do crypto. That's what we do. There's nothing else. There's not like, oh, this is my side gig. This is what we do. Literally, I mean, I abandoned my other business. It was a successful business, by the way, just to be all in crypto because this is what I wanted to do, right? So that's also shows like I burn my ships as well. Burn the ships. That's what I do. The other side of it, right? When it comes down to why we've done so well as well is like besides consistency is also taking risk and going and doing shows and networking and even the way we teach our guys. Like, so I looked at like Jehovah's Witnesses actually, right? They're incredible. They're incredible.
They got
watch. Give me some rope here. Give me some rope here. Okay.
No, I love them. I have so much respect for them.
Except when they don't celebrate birthdays. So fuck that.
My whole family thinks they're a cult. Just let me know. I'll take that.
You
ask my dad and mom and dad. They're like,
they're right.
Now, every ex of one of the Jehovah's Witnesses is an incredible goddamn salesman. Because they're used to getting doors hit on them all the time. Now, I think the message.
You did door to door.
Yeah, I did door to door. I learned door to door sales, but not from that, but from just my business. But every I mean they do. But believe it or not, like a lot of the Jehovah's Witnesses I've met, and even in my old industry and stuff, we did pretty well because they were salesmen. Because you're taught from an early age to go knock on doors and you're going to get a door slammed on you. It's like, hi, do you have time to talk? That eventually builds that muscle of being not being scared of rejection, which is one of the biggest things that's taught in the red pill. Because there's something called numbers game, which is you're going to get rejected. Even the biggest players, if they're not, let's just good looking or like doesn't matter, like a player, a guy, like a pickup artist guy, the best pickup artists in the world, they talk to 10 girls, they might get 1 or 2 maybe. And that is the best guys out here because you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, period, right? And everyone's in a different sort of zone and stuff, right? Now, if you're super famous or something like that, then you can just get it off of like fame, right?
Yeah.
But
even when you're famous,
is that your
Miami,
But is
that
that your
skill doesn't get you every girl.
Exactly.
Why are you trying to get everybody to like you? You don't like everyone.
Like, if you can just get half of people to like you, you're killing it. But you're gonna have half the world hate you too.
So I'm hearing hard work. And I'm hearing, like the consistency and everything.
And
but how do you guys explain
actually
the values that you have?
Right.
So how do you guys explain your timing then?
So okay, wait.
Because we're good.
Well,
get good.
Because that's it's your timing is incredible.
Well, that's the consistency.
Exactly. It looks like timing, but they were grinding in the bear market. Nobody was watching.
No, it's not. It's not because you guys have chosen to not do a quarterly course. If you were trying to max extract, like everybody else who's running a business, now I get the values part, but is it so obvious in crypto when my question is, well, like part of what defines a bottom is that the average person does not believe. right now.
Correct.
You're making the bottom because there's fewer buyers. But how is it possible that you guys are always onboarding people at the bottom?
I mean, 68 cycles are fucking good.
I was gonna say,
Shout out Bob Lucas. Lucas cycles for the win.
It's a fusion of all our powers,
Yeah,
right? So
it is a fusion.
Looking at charts, on-chain analytics, research, but
Fundamentals.
also looking at what's happening on Twitter, how people are reacting. Like, oh, they're starting to really cry. Oh, we're getting close. It's stuff. But sometimes they're crying and the price isn't doing anything. So
Exactly.
okay, so but it's a mixture of all of it together. And the thing is, I don't think I could do it by myself. Neither could Charlie. That's why we look. So this is something Richard said. Like Richard really said, like, don't start a company with anybody. Just do it yourself, right? Now, the people that can, right? Like, look at Migos, right? Individually, I think maybe one of them could have got maybe a little famous, but all together as a super group, incredible. The
They're way more powerful.
Way more powerful as a group, but it's also very difficult to control egos.
Well, and also people quit. It's like, I forget what we were talking about last night, but we were mentioning this. We're like, oh, there's a group of people that own these casinos versus groups of people that can kind of influence the casinos. The people who influence could get more power and could do different things, but because they're fractionable, right? They're a bigger group versus the mains. Like they're not going to do that, and so like it's like being lean, but not by yourself,
right?
Because if you're by yourself, you have your own superpowers, but you can't like have the full picture of everything. Like you need a team.
There's a proverb that said, by yourself, you can go far, but with a team, you can last. That's
100%.
important. And back to what Miguel says, it's very important. Once again, the control of the ego. I've seen companies, I've seen families just be destroyed just for ego. And this is going back to the door-to-door thing. It's like you learn how to handle rejection and not take things personally. I've done door-to-door for many years too. Like somebody can literally slam the dog at like the door. Many times the dog, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then you literally just find out, because I went back to those neighbors. I was so desensitized and said, oh, I'm so sorry. I did that to you the other day. I just had a bad day. And then start telling me what was going on. It was crazy. And then I started to feel bad for them. But if I didn't feel like, you know what? Maybe they just had a bad day. I had that self-talk. No, it's just bad timing, Kareem. Come back. Because that was a great house. I needed to hit that. But then when I came back, boom, they told me that other cases, they were like, wow, this is the 5th time I see you here. What is it that you're selling? Let me hear that. Because they just admire the commitment. Like sometimes it's literally like people will literally see that you have something good. They'll tell you no, just to see how you're going to react. Same thing with girls. So sometimes they'll just like you look, they'll be like, nah, I don't want it. And then when you don't want it, then you just chill, and that's when they come. It's like you got to be able to attract those people.
So going back,
see who you are.
So going back to the religious thing, right? So the reason I even brought it up is because as a kid, I noticed, right? That, like numbers game works with them, but the problem is sometimes the product is difficult to sell, right? And in crypto, we have a very good product, which is get rich. So we have a very good product. Now the problem is like which product within the product is going to get you that, and this has been the number one mistake. And so I feel like a lot of crypto communities become a little one-sided because, of course, they only talk about their coin, which is fine. But the problem is at some point you get echo chambered out, or you've essentially hit all your leads, and you need new lead generation. This is why Richard getting into beefs and beating and like making people look stupid, or at least like doing this, it brings more people in because he was your guys' onboarder, our onboarder, getting onto these because he's so big and famous, and people are trying to like, no, I'm a fucking defeat Richard. Gets people like done.
That was so entertaining.
Where's Mashinsky now? Where's Mashinsky
Bring
now?
your heroes here to die.
The marketing arm. So what we did is like obviously
the outrage marketing.
The thing is like we have to like play. So it's this whole thing is like you win with vinegar, or you win with honey, right? And honey. The thing is like I can't come on the show and like PulseChain Hex, PulseChain Inc., PulseChain PHEX, EHEX. Like you can't fucking do that on these major platforms because it's bad. It just looks bad, and you won't onboard. You onboard a couple people, sure, but it doesn't. You have to onboard with honey, which is this is why we start off with it, and this is how we invest as well. So it's also true to us. Is I don't just have PulseChain.
Right.
Exactly. And this, I know this was like from the beginning.
I kind of felt like when we were saying that on stage yesterday, I was like, we're fucking saying blasphemy against the fucking Bible or something. Like
I said
you can make money in Cardano because they have whales that pump the price, and then you can bring it over to PulseChain. Oh my God, novel concept, right?
But that's how we've been able to onboard because we've onboarded people that wouldn't have even given a shit about PulseChain because we showed them all these other chains. They found the ones they liked. You're like, PulseChain is actually really cool. I'm gonna put some money over here. And that's the thing, because you're never like the thing is, I feel like a lot of the onboarding is like you guys are trying to onboard max. Like you guys are trying to onboard a person You basically, I want a virgin and I want her to stick with here.
Well,
we're like, that's not the market. The market's for a bunch of whores.
So I'm a whale.
That's the market.
So
no, that isn't market.
It is a shitty market.
Oh yeah.
What my job? I'm a whale retainer. I keep the whales entertained with deeper game theory every week and cream. And so what you guys are doing, I'm so grateful for your superpowers because you're out here. And so can you tell us like how to think about this idea of we need cultural priests such as myself who are maximalists, and we really need people who are able to onboard as you can. So can you speak to that?
Okay, so
basically, like there was a time when our culture of Hex was very like maximalist only, was just copying what worked in Bitcoin.
It
Blah,
was
blah,
a survival
blah.
instinct too.
Yeah,
because we've been
but then I started meeting people who they actually had receipts of like they onboarded these millionaires into Hex because they would go to the millionaires and say, "What crypto are you interested in?" And it was Doge and Ethereum and Bitcoin. And so they would help them to buy those coins that they wanted, whatever was the meta of the moment. And then they would, once the trust was built and once they were able to deliver on what they promised already, they were able to onboard those people into Hex very easily. And so
we're using that formula at scale. Which is not easy. Which is not easy, by the way.
Right.
Which is not easy. And honestly, like we almost killed ourselves in the first courses. I mean, literally killed. We did
we did 24 in a row.
That was
that was wild.
But I think that goes back to the recipe of the success, because again, another thing, people underestimate the level of difficulty they must overcome to be successful. When you're in a day and age digitally where there's so much, excuse my French, shit out there that you just to go through the noise for the market to even take you seriously. If you show up once or twice, LOL. There's a guy that show up literally every week. He's gonna smoke you.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter if you have the best thing since sliced bread. The scammer is out there showing up. He's gonna be in front of all the customers. You're not.
So look at sports, right? Look at Julian Edelman, right? He kind of looks like Zenith right here. Or me, whatever, which is good. You're
good-looking guy, apparently.
Edelman is good.
Horribly generic before.
And he has a great sense of humor. But it's all about the personality.
Definitely,
but funny. Here's the thing: like Adam Thielen as well. He's a Minnesota guy. Why are these guys even in the NFL? It's not because they're physically talented. It's because they put in the fucking work and they don't give up and they kill everybody else. And there's some people who are like, Bo Jackson probably had like the best actually like setup. Like he actually took advantage of what his physical gifts were.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people who don't. And it's the people, it's just, putting in the work.
I bet you they had good coaches too.
Yeah. That does help.
So I'd like to take this one as somebody who's kind of come up through their system on what I see from them. So certainly we've covered consistency. I think one of the things you've done, aside from developing the scale of the education and solutions, you've also cultivated that community as well. So we have,
and you guys are starting to take charge. I love
We've had the ability to cross paths, and all of a sudden we intersect with different people.
L Boogie.
Hey, he's in the chat.
And this is good because you've been through the course. As a student,
I have a different perspective on aspects of this, and so they're running 2 courses a day, 10 a.m., 10 p.m. Eastern when it's course time. They're perpetually on Twitter. They're active in chats. You guys have a combined insane weekly streaming schedule. You make yourself available, but they've also looked at it from a foundational perspective. So why have they been successful in onboarding? Because I remember it was 21, probably 20, like late 21, 22, where you were very adamant about bringing people onto Phantom to teach them the ropes for DeFi, for bridging, for yielding, for LPs, for staking, because literally you can go back if you were in some of those courses and it was, hey, at some point in time, PulseChain is going to launch. They're going to have all these things. You guys are going to be able to hit the ground running. Lo and behold, they were right.
So, and it's also a powerful test because that's what I used to do too, because I used to tell people, hey, I'll teach you for free, but I want you to show up by doing all the tough schedules.
I've seen them do this. I've seen them do this.
Exactly. Because the trick is you want to weed out the fake people or the people who are not serious. No offense, because like this is really serious, and that's why sometimes I get very passionate because like we're genuinely trying to change people's lives. So it's like I'm going to commit, but I expect you to commit, because if not, I feel I'm wasting my time. I could be helping somebody else, because if we genuinely trying to make you become like wealthy, retire, whatever, we got to put in the work, but we expect you to put in the work too. Because if you don't, then it's like, why would you deserve those things? Do you know what I mean? So, and that's why I always looked at it like beyond the money, because the attitude, the showing up, to me, that's more valuable, because that's going to be the key. And then having the right open-mindedness. That's why, again, I love Fast Abdul, the way he came in, because he was, again, very, very open-minded. He heard the community. And more importantly, he was also one of the few that was like, oh, no, the Hexicans are not that bad. Oh, this and that. He didn't just let the slander of what he heard. He went and he looked it for himself. He showed up. He came to the meeting. And then what is this about? And then he realized.
I mean, he broke in like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Exactly. And then he realized those guys were lying. That's, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not at like an OG day one Hexican or anything like that.
Let's get him out of here. All right, let's
Back
to
the maximalism. But like, the community was overwhelming, so it was very clear. And then I looked around, like, where's the Polygon? There's no Polygon community. Like, so it's like, okay, where should I build things? Well, the place where I can actually talk to people, and they'll know my name, and I can be on the screen with like YouTubers that are important, right? It's very difficult to break in anywhere else like that. So I think this is a great place for builders for that reason.
So why is that this community is different than other cryptos?
It's natural, it's organic. There's a lot of there's a lot of other communities where they, like Cardano, they fucking claim there's like all sorts of stuff, you know, happening. We got the most devs, we got the most GitHub development shit, like all this stuff. It's just fucking lies.
Lies, bots.
It's called professor chain. Which
Hexologist is always racial trade. Like, what's the word? When you're on Twitter, ratio on
what? I heard racial trading. I was like, racist. Okay, now we're getting to the conversation.
I've seen the tweets, bro. Hexo got way less follower, and then he'll be tweeting something, and then he come in and he checked him, and then like you get more likes, bro. That's
so we're more social or what?
I think it's the gym thing where it's like it's easier to go to the gym with all your buddies instead of just going by yourself every time. So if you're the only streamer, it's probably a little disheartening being the only one out in the void. But when you get the boys together, you can have some fun, have a drink, start streaming. It really motivates you to keep going and going and going.
And the boys are on the same mission. Right. It's a lifestyle. We don't. Maybe I speak for some of you guys here, but I don't feel like it's work. You know what I mean? Like it's just we've just been doing it. So like bull market, bear market. It's like the analogy where Elon Musk was saying like, "Oh, aren't you worried about being the richest man of this?" I'm like, bro, I'm not selling. I'm just doing whatever. Oh, today the house is valued more. Tomorrow is. I'm not selling the house. I'm just here. I'm just putting the work. Loving what I do.
This community is one of the only communities I've ever seen that actually compounds on itself, up and down. It's insane. Like literally, you see people, streaming. Like everything. Everyone inspires everyone else. And then when everything's suppressed, it's like, okay, you still got some people popping up. You know, people are streaming, people are creating content, but it's really like everything goes up together and everything goes down together. And this community is like foundationally organic. Charlie put it.
But why? Why is the question?
All right,
Richard.
I mean, he streams all the time.
Used to.
I'll give you.
Sure.
He gives us the core values that they were talking about at some point because he creates that synergy. And he goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you're around high productive individual, it makes you want to do that. We have leadership. We have role model. Wow, he's showing his face. Wow, he's already retired. He shouldn't be doing this. We watch 6-hour stream, people lying, swearing at him, slanders. You know, that's why I love sometimes exologists replay some old video because some of us maybe have forgotten. I was rewatching. I was like, damn, it was bad. I kind of forgot. Even though I knew, but like I rewatched it, like, damn.
There's three. The reason we are at the beginning, because I was there from the beginning, right? The 3 reasons why, right? Richard streamed a lot. Which is really rare at the time during the beginning of. So he was already a big YouTuber guy. He was going around doing
6-hour streams.
Always was giving good information.
Always giving 6-hour streams. Doing.
He might not have liked them, but he gave good information.
So yeah, he was streaming like almost like in the beginning, especially like almost like a fresh and fit schedule down here, right? So okay, that's one. Then as a community, obviously you can't really promote nothing if nothing exists, right? So then Hex launched. Then you had the first real YouTuber for Hex, which is Hexologist, and then he decides to stream every day. Shout out to Hex. Shout out to him. Now, community-wise, why we exploded YouTube is Discourse Syndicate after that, which was me and RG and then Coffee and stuff, right? Originally, then what happened is Coffee then did his channel, also mega successful channel, also and kept streamed really regularly.
Great tutorials,
right? Which is you needed. Now, from the Discord syndicate, everyone kept. It was also I think we were doing like what 3 or 4 days a week streaming all the time, and then from there, basically just about every Hexagon that eventually had a YouTube channel, we did this really interesting thing where we would just like, you want to come on the show? It's a community show, and then
that was the greatest program you ever do. The
cross
promotion,
and then we promoted. We brought people I didn't even know this. I was like, all right, fucking come on here, come on here. I mean, everybody, just about everybody you could possibly think of went on that show. Then from there, it grew into something, and then at some point, it essentially got a life of its own.
That was the culture, because that's what they told me. Right. That when I copy traded the equipment of Hexologists and RG3, and when I asked them to support me to run the first Hex conference, like, hey, can I put your name next to this? Like, you know, I want to bring everybody together. They had told me, in dollar cost, they had told me that the recipe for success was cross promotion. That was the golden goose. And so that's what really impresses me about this community. But all right, so here's the part that shocked me still. Even being a crypto psychologist, understanding social psychology, I asked myself, so about a year ago when we were at all-time lows in PulseChain, and I mean all-time lows, remember, it was the 4th day of the Hex conference in 2024, January. So it was January 9th when Richard's lawyers showed their cards and said, we're defending this guy and we have a really fucking good case. Right. And so that took us off of like a long low that we had where PulseX was, 10% of SAC rate. And then you saw in a run between January 9th, 2024 and 369, which is where we're at now in the year. So in that 2-month period, you saw a run of Inc. did 20x. You saw Pulse and PulseX did 10 or 15x, Hex the same. So my question though is, how is it possible that the Hex community had the greatest participation of YouTubers when the price was at an all-time low? So when we had that conference, before we knew that Richard was going to show his cards, before we knew he wasn't on the run, before we knew he was being represented by Elon Musk's lawyers and that he had a slam dunk case to win everything, how is it possible that this community already set the world record for most YouTubers live on a single screen? We had 230 people show up for that. We had over 100 YouTubers come onto the conference at all-time lows. And the only explanation I've ever heard that makes any kind of sense goes back to your concept of a religion, where that when you're at a time of war, church attendance goes to an all-time high.
I think it's more than that. I think you have compounding influencers. You're making more.
Well, I mean, in crypto, you would expect the opposite. You'd expect at the all-time low, you'd have the fewest participants on YouTube and elsewhere. So please explain.
But are you talking about the metric of within PulseChain or compared to other chains?
I'm just saying, like, there seems to be something special here in the PulseChain community that is irrelevant of price, and I'm trying to understand what that is, because that seems to be such an important ingredient.
So basically, the PulseChain Hex culture is a streaming culture, through and through. Now, and especially during the time, this is why we punch way above our weight, because we're all streamers. Like, everybody here streams, right? And we have the highest population. I mean, like, if you put all the Hexagons as a population, right? They all have Twitter. They all have Hex Twitters, which is crazy. But we have the highest amount of YouTubers. And that's been by design. And it's also is really rare time, because also crypto is a dork. And it is finance. It's all dorky, and they're all introverts. So we essentially, you don't get the community you want. You get the community you deserve.
And also community you design too, exactly, because we help people kind of be like unshine themselves. But to unpack this a little bit more, that was actually our best defense mechanism, because remember, we've been attacked, slandered, lied about, and while at the same time being gatekept. So it's kind of like when they say, if you get attacked, your number one weapon is your phone, camera, film, everything. So for us, it's like stream. And at some point, some live stream and channel were getting shut down too. So it's like, we had to be like, yo, what if he gets shut down? Hey, create one too. And then it's like, if I get shut down, I'll go on your channel. And then so the cross promotion, the multi-channel. So it's like, we're mosaic, pure DeFi. Build out, and then Richard keep promoting hey, do it your own. Don't just rely on me. That's very important. How even right now, PulseChain, one of the only one where you can run the software from your goddamn computer. that even also, that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
talked about a lot. That's very powerful. Nobody can stop your money. You get the thing, you get it download, you can run it yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
speaking of channels that got nuked, RIP Boogie's first channel. Sorry.
yeah. L Boogie. Common L Boogie.
Oh, Maddie, to answer your question though, I think the reason that I got is that I think the foundation was built very, very well, which is that many of the people you talk to in the hexagon space, that's what it was at first. Now we're in PulseChain. We got that whole thing going on. Is that the foundation was laid very solidly. So even though you have troubles coming up and we have July 31st, 2023, the day that the SEC drops the allegations, everyone can look at it and at its face, like make that logical analysis and be like, okay, is this true? Even if it is factual, how does this line up? And does this change the fundamentals and the values that were taught by Richard and showed about DeFi and the principles of it, self-custody, not trusting middlemen, not trusting centralized exchanges, all that stuff. So you built the foundation so well that when it came time to fight, just like the religious argument, it's if you have a good cause, you're willing to take up arms. And I think it also helped that everyone had each other too. So that's another thing that helped people get in there.
So what do we do now if there isn't the same threat that there's always been? You know, we're the most subpoenaed group of influencers in crypto.
You sound like you might have personal experience on this one, brother.
We didn't win by political favor. We won in court.
Correct.
Based on
A federal judge has declared.
Real quick, the SEC has
Not
been
a
dropping
security.
a bunch of investigations lately. So like absolute W to everybody, like Consensus, Gemini, MetaMask, all those people. But at the same time, Richard did something different in the same week that, was it like week and 2 days that the SEC actually went like 0-7. But he won in court. So even if the SEC was not dropping all those investigations, Richard Hart won in a different avenue that a lot of people think that he wasn't going to win in because even at that point, all the cards were stacked against him in the deck. But the SEC fumbled the bag so bad and their original allegation was so bad, they couldn't even proceed to trial when at that time, procedurally, they were given the benefit of the doubt on everything.
So to the people who have created this excellent foundation to our culture, how does our culture change now that we have not the same threat?
I don't know. Just I wanted to hear what Fast Abdul had to say because he said there was like another aspect that wasn't being considered.
I think with the influencer community, there's an actual like internal community inside PulseChain of influencers that are a community amongst themselves. But I think of it more like an LP position. You have compounding influencers. Influencers churning out new influencers. Look at your courses. Right? Look at the Citadel. Look at like Crypto Sloth. This guy. Like there's so many people that I talk to. All the DJ Roundtable guys, basically, right?
Yeah, straight up. We all just came from a CMC course, so we're here because of these guys.
That's kind of crazy. To me, that's fucking wild. That's great. I love it.
Max, right? And Hexel too.
Yeah, where's my DJ? Where's my just DJ Roundtable?
I think one of the most powerful ideas in the community that kind of goes into the radar lit. It's just honestly, it's almost a trope at this point. Refusing to lose. Like we've been through so much at this point. There's no way we're going to lose. Like it's not going to happen. Like I don't stream out of the, I don't even have monetization turned on. I don't have that. I know everyone has their different philosophy, but it's like I'm not, I'm here to win. And I think that harnessing that idea in the foundations we had, with or without Richard, he has been streaming for years at this point. Like to me, it doesn't even matter. It's like there is a mission, there's something to do, and we're going to do it. And like harnessing that idea, it doesn't go away.
Okay, so what do you say to your cousins, your family members say you're delusional?
Well, you're poor.
There you go. Shut it down.
You can always look back and be like, Mom, you remember when you told me to get rid of the Pokemon cards?
I don't know. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind too is like,
never use
what is worth doing out there? Like, what is worth doing? Like, if they're asking me that question, I say, what are you doing that's so important?
Yep.
Like, and maybe they have a good answer, maybe they don't. But
They don't
for me, I have a good answer.
usually they fucking don't.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Yep.
And more importantly, it's a good reminder because I do actually talk with my siblings and some of the people that I've onboarded in the family as well. I just remind them again, did the thesis change? No. Meaning, like, are they going to keep printing stuff? Are we going to still dealing with inflation, right? Check. Do you want to potentially make money in your sleep, right? Whether it is via staking, LP, whatever it might be. And then more importantly, it's like a lot, because some of them, they're not like 100% in crypto. They have, they live their life, they have jobs, things that you're talking about. And what they love is that we teach them how to be autonomous, how to do it themselves, how to do DeFi themselves, but also we remind them that you don't have to be like us, meaning 100%. You can literally just have the thing set up and then boom, go about your day, go about your work. My sister, she barely checks her account maybe 3 months, 6 months, whatever. She just live her best life. She just know that, hey, the thing is compounding, it's working. She got to stake 5 years, and no one's 7 years, 10 years, whatever. I'll the day when I need it, I'll just go check. Until then, boom, everything is safe. What's in the corner? I go about and I live my life, and that's very, very important. So they're not on crypto Twitter with some of the negativity. They're not worried about, oh my God, did you hear about the price? What they did the last 20 minutes, and then this and that, and then this rogue point. Like, no, because they completely desensitized from that. They just understand that, hey, the thesis is the same. It's not World War III. I made that joke with them saying, if there's World War III, all right, maybe some of the stuff and they turn off the internet, maybe we have problems.
So you're saying there's a mindset.
Exactly. The mindset.
Crypto
mindset. All right, but
it's true. We're building a bank. That's actually true.
So I'll get really meta with this thing, right? So one thing that we did lose a little bit, which I'll mention here, right, is this is even before PulseChain launched. This is once we got into the bear market. Basically, there was a certain point. I don't know what to say. Like maybe it was like very late fourth quarter of 21. Collaborations started to stop because basically, like I think like people were on Discord Syndicate for a long time, and then essentially, what the Discord Syndicate did really well, especially in the beginning and during a good portion of 21, was getting people, new guys to come in and getting the guys who made their own channels to come back on. And it was just kind of this whole everyone was collaborating with each other, and then at some point. It got late cycle and stuff, which is normal. And then, people kept doing their channels and stuff, but then, eventually we crashed, right? And we went down, which is pretty normal. And when PulseChain launched, what's happened is like, I think we're just not having enough cross collaboration anymore within the channel. Everyone is streaming. We are creating more streamers. We still are. Everyone is, but there's not enough collabs going around. Like, I mean, not throw a shot at Hex, but like, I can't remember.
Are you saying that the collabs are low right now?
Right now.
Yeah.
No, the channels are high, but collaboration's low. So you're not creating the reason usually that the same thing happened in the Red Pill. Our friend Donovan Sharp made basically a Red Pill con for men, right? The men, right? And it literally from that we all met up. It was me, Myron, Fresh, Charlie, everybody, Rolo, everybody, MLD. I mean, everybody who's anybody in the Red Pill went from that conference. We did mega groups. We did exactly what we're doing here. This collaboration, right, of everybody, right? We did a mega group, and then everyone started collaborating with each other over the months. The Red Pill fucking explode. This is sub 300,000 subscribers on Fresh and Fit. I'm talking about, and then within less than 6 months, with all the collaborations and how it exploded and stuff, like it was basically it took like almost like what we did with Hex.
Yep.
But and then boom, the Red Pill exploded to this massive multi-million-dollar thing, right? And what we're missing right now is a collaboration.
Overnight success.
Well, so we have another. So now that this conference is coming to an end, I can say we have another online conference coming up here in about 2 months.
I've never heard of it. What's it called?
It's called PulseChainConference.com.
Right.
Maddie, look right into the camera and give him that good promo read.
And I gotta tell you, this is even though the chain is coming up on its second birthday. This conference is actually 4 years old coming up here in May.
Yeah.
And so we had been doing it on the launch anniversary of PulseChain. And then last year we started to do the conference in mid-May as a part of the launch anniversary.
And you were the first official conference, correct? I think you were the first, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
first one.
So we started with a SAC anniversary conference. I think that was in July of. I mean, we were out there in 2022.
Was that the 24-hour one you did, or which one was that?
So there have been, even separate from the 24 and the 48-hour streams that I've done, there have been now 5 Hex conferences, and there have been 3 PulseChain conferences spaced a year apart. Because as soon as we sacrificed, we were having conferences.
Right.
Because there was so much game theory, because there was so much activity with sacrifices and people building and forking things. And so, yeah, like I'm excited to say that what you guys are identifying as this is the secret sauce of what makes PulseChain in the top 5 in the world in terms of volume and YouTubers and subpoenas that you win in court and stuff like that. That maybe we will have an opportunity like that you saw in the Red Pill space where we get more participation than ever at that online conference coming up here in May.
And it's free, right? No charge.
It's free, and the really distinguishing factor is that we want as many YouTubers as possible to participate. And
he has a bigger reach. That's the cool thing. So whether you can, let's say, fly to Vegas or whatever, or pay for stuff, well, guess what? It's done this way so it can reach as much part of the community as possible. Everybody have an internet connection, boom, you can participate, you can assist, you can watch. And I want to double click what Miguel says. Very important. It's a piece of wisdom that we can't rest on the laurels. It's very important. Like, don't get complacent. Because some of that thing that you're talking about, I believe because I've seen a lot of late cycles and in business too. People get excited, right? We talked about Vitalik earlier. The bag gets big, you think you made it, everything is cool, you stop teaching, you start slowing down, and then people see that, or you stop reaching out, doing the collabs and stuff, and then next thing you know, by the time you realize you're slowing down, it's already too late. You lost momentum. Right. Momentum is a real thing. So it's good to reflect on what we did good and what we can improve on, so that the next round, I mean, cycles are going to be cycles, but if we can at least keep reinforcing, double down on what we have learned to improve, and then we're going to make new mistakes and then learn from them, and then just continue to be that learning machine. I think that's great.
I mean, part of having a conference isn't just the people speaking at the conference when it's online at that moment. It's that you're reactivating and newly activating YouTubers who will continue to stream throughout the year.
Right.
That's a good point. So that's why I really think the world record attempt that we did now more than a year ago, I mean, maybe that needs to be repeated now for this PulseChain conference, because we had 230 people who showed that, well, many showed their faces and many participated. And so the more I'm just putting this together as we're talking right now, that part of what is making this community so successful, irregardless of price, which we know that's going to get fixed. But basically, the more participation we can get, the better.
So I have one. So okay. So on that point that I made, right? Here's an extra thing right here on with the YouTubers. So one thing that we're not doing in PulseChain right now, and this is with I'm only talking about the largest YouTubers and stuff, and these are with the PulseChain only or Hex PulseChain only channels, is that they're just not allowing smaller channels to go on their channel to collaborate. And then and obviously I know, look, everyone's busy, right? Of course, right? But we need some new up and coming guys to go on Hexo's channel, then go on Sami's channel, and then go on B-Roots' channel, and then go on Coffee's channel. And I don't see that happening. I don't see, and those, because obviously me and Charlie, look, I'm OG Hexican, I stream Hex and PulseChain, but I also stream about other stuff. So it's but I still try my best to have guys on. And this is what we like when we did the the crypto mindset meetup every year. I tell these guys, start a YouTube channel. Come on, come on. Well,
he's been on my channel. I've got like a couple hundred subscribers. Like I see Fast Abdul rolling through and commenting chats, and it's like, bro, we don't even have 200 subscribers.
You're doing it. Obviously, I know you're having guys on, but it's also I know. But this is the whole thing, is like we have to start that up again. That's the part that's fucking up, is our actual best channels are not collaborating enough.
You got to update the world.
So there was an outlier that I found on Twitter when I looked at the Hex badges, which that's been discontinued, and the PulseChain badges are now actually uniting people even more than ever. But I made a tweet about this, about Tam, community member, and she
in the space. Shout out to you.
Shout out to you, Tam.
I've met her in person. I've met her $1 million onboards, because we're all Texans now and that sort of thing. And I mean,
we couldn't tell.
She's look, so she's the real deal. And I was looking at her Twitter statistics, because it's part of the badge program, and she had like 2,300 followers, and she was getting 350,000 impressions on Twitter per month. And so that's more than Havid was getting. I mean, it's like nuts. It's like, and so people who are punching above their weight, it's I think that's how we know, right? When Whales Only, when he started streaming, we knew he was going to be the fastest growing, streamer at the time back in 2021. And so that's why we made sure we'd get him on every week and everything.
Exactly.
And so,
and the reason why I think she's doing a great job is also, again, she takes a lot of initiatives too, right? She speaks her mind, she speaks the truth. She's not trying to sugarcoat it. So like Charlie was doing earlier, like sometimes you got to call some bullshit, because you get valid long-term impressions, subscriber, you name it, when you are actually like calling things as what they are. If you
Being
try to
honest.
play politics and whatever, they're gonna be like, yo, you're fake, you're not real. So
She's a hardcore Hexican. Like she's buying at 30 cents, sending her life savings into the future 15 years. Like I've not been so inspired by a Hexican
and she's
Yeah, for
compared
everybody
to
out there, if
Tam
you-
for a long time.
If you thought you had diamond hands,
So-
Tam Tam is going to put you to shame.
So,
Like,
so what I'm getting from the advice that you're giving us is that maybe we need to take somebody like Tam Tam and give her, you know, the equipment that Hexo told me to get and RG3 and Dollar Cost told me to get, and then send her on a journey to go through all the channels, all the way up to Sami, then Ivan on tech, and I don't know, maybe she'll onboard Sailor after a while.
no, you guys are already in Texas. Get on Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
there you go.
Why not?
Easy.
I'm working on it.
That's something
It's not going well. Not going well.
Keep knocking on that door. We sense consistency.
Can I answer this thing from Black Pepper? He's like, some persons on the sidelines that want to speak but can't due to legal status with stuff, right? Now, like, I don't think that's really true because, like, Hexo got the order. He's still streaming.
That's true.
Coffee got the order. And those are our biggest, like, most of the people on the list were more Twitter personalities. From
Yeah, I got a notification too.
Yeah, and then you're still here. You're still here. So the guys who aren't streaming is because they don't want to, and that's respect that. That's okay. But but all the major guys who had YouTube channels, they're still YouTubing. So that doesn't really make sense.
Well, yeah, because most YouTubers, I mean, Crypto Lark let it slip the other week or whatever. He was just like, I hope this bull market doesn't go into 2026 because I got to grind so hard to get there. And it's just like, bro, that's like some weak
how many
sauce right
times did
there.
your bank account get shut down? I got subpoenaed again by the SEC like 2 months ago.
That was all my bank account.
Yeah, it's wild.
And
but
you're still here, and that's what I'm talking
I'm
about.
still
If-
here.
If they
I
want to
just
be here,
open
they
a new
want to be
account
here.
somewhere else. There's many banks. You can get an online bank too.
Trial
And
by
it's cool.
fire.
You learn about how we talk to people about like, oh, they can literally shut you up. Oh, Cream, you're fear mongering. And then boom, your thing gets shut down. You're like, oh, fuck, that was true. But if you're prepared, you can learn from my experience and don't just take it for granted.
Right.
You remember in the highest of stakes when Clay? Sorry, I've seen it 14 times.
Taco
So
Truck.
it's
the highest
when,
or lowest stakes? Which one?
right. So it's when
Seen both.
Lamont Black and Clay from Nomics, they're
Oh,
both
okay.
sitting
Oh, yeah,
there
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, looking at the OA stakes and everything, and they're talking about the negativity of the hex culture, and they're saying like, you know, they had to be going through a trial by fire so much, and then they said, what got them from there to here will not get them from here to there, meaning, you know, like our next journey. And so now that the SEC stuff is over, what do you think, like now that we've graduated that trial by fire, what's going to change in how we have to get from here to where we're going?
That's a good question. I don't even know the
I can
answer.
say it. I think first off, the SEC that we have now is a different SEC than we had 2 months ago.
Great point.
Right.
We're going to see very different things. We mentioned it earlier. Trump getting elected is going to absolutely change the face of the direction that crypto goes in this cycle and also for Americans overall. The three-letter agencies are under a new administration. There is a major fight going on right now within the government to determine what are the constitutional limits of the executive agencies. So that being said, all the legal stuff, that has been our battle up until now. We just got the motion to dismiss. The SEC pretty much lost their entire leadership. They didn't just have Gary Gensler lead. They had another chair that did not get reinstituted. So we're looking at 3 out of 5 chairs right now. Paul Atkins is still unfortunately not on the docket to get confirmed by the Senate, but he's officially submitted. So I think that the previous battle was the legal stuff. It was fighting all that stuff. It was fighting the SEC, fighting the allegations, all that kind of crap.
And what
I
now?
think now what we're going to see is we're going to have to really compete in an open marketplace. That's what I'm seeing. If you go look and you read the
Which we're good
executive,
at.
if you we are good, but we got to step.
We got to get a fair share.
Yes, exactly. We also got
Are
to
you
step it
saying
up again.
postcards? Is that our future?
I'm
Tell
actually,
me.
look,
Just tell me.
as someone actively get on the Patreon for the postcards thing, it is good.
Market as a side.
It's gonna need more. It's gonna need more. If you look at the executive order, what we're seeing now, and we're also seeing letters from the SEC, we're like the SEC is literally saying they are not here to baby you. They are not here to save you when you make bad financial decisions. They are trying to. Freedom is the word. They're trying to promote freedom and self-custody inside of the United States. That means game's on. We got to compete in the open marketplace now and actually compete with the big boys. We got the, we got the volume. We got to get the price appreciation going on now. And I mean, Lord knows we got the onboarding at this point.
The one thing we need, right?
What
Now,
do we
let's
need?
just say, besides Richard, right? One thing we need, because look, me and Charlie are like experts when it comes to newbies and brand new people. This is what we do. We onboard brand new people as well as just do a continuation in education once you've learned crypto, right? It's that, guys, when they first get into crypto, they really don't know to do anything. They can't do DeFi. They literally cannot. All they know is how do you put their credit card in. And, shout out to Coast and all the guys there. But like realistically speaking, we need a Coinbase, a Kraken, a Crypto.com, or a Gemini.
That's the final frontier.
I'm sorry. There's almost no way around it. Now, if the market was really pumping crazy, we'll pump off of that, and then we can pump out because all the DeFi native and all the people who are already rich in crypto got so much fucking money they can slosh money into every chain, and then we get PulseChain season and we do good. But we need one of them. And I don't want to promote it, and I don't want to promote a centralized exchange, but it's the sort of thing. If like Crypto.com put PulseChain on there, and then I'd be like, go to Crypto.com. Crypto.com is best. But we need that because normally, like. It's so why are we so successful? Because we take one of the most difficult things, the most annoying, like onboard your cousin into crypto. Good fucking luck to your text messages.
He's an ETH miner, and it's so hard to even get him into PulseChain, even though he knows everything.
Miguel, we talked about this at the conference today. I had a chance to talk to the treasurer of Nevada and also a lawyer here. One of the things we talked about is that in the political world, we can be ideological purists, and those values are good and true. The DeFi values are still very good and true. I know a lot of people have been getting shit for talking about how we need a centralized exchange listing. That kind of goes against the DeFi values, but the realistic situation on the ground is that you are here, you want to go there. You cannot teleport. You have to move the football 1 yard at a time. And like I said, if we want to compete in this new marketplace, you got to be competitive. How do you be competitive? You get marketing, you get visibility that we talked about. Centralized exchange listings are a way to do that. It lowers it makes the accessibility higher, so you can get more people in. Because I'm sure all of us had to go through a centralized exchange at one point to get money onto PulseChain.
So I started the show talking about that before I even introduced myself because I think it's so important. And I don't even think that getting on a top 3 centralized exchange is the mechanism that's going to cause PulseChain to go to new all-time highs. I think it's that the whales using that as a proxy for trust, that they're going to see that happen, and that's going to be the shelling point.
But it's everything. You're right. The whales there.
It was with the little guy too. It's important, and I think it goes back to also having clarity. As being one of the top onboarded too, you got to be clear in your messaging because if not, it creates confusion. The same way we were talking about earlier. When Faster Bill came into the community, and then we start having the talk. When we find out that no, what's being said and the truth are two different things. We're not saying that, for example, exchanges are bad. No, I always tell people we got to onboard sometime, especially big money or whatever, anything above 30, 50,000, you want to go to exchange, less slippage.
It's funny that you said the talk to talk about sexes, and normally the talk is about sex. I'm just saying.
I identify as a dinosaur.
So a lot of shit that Richard's taught us there's a lot of wisdom in what he's taught us, but it's also things are changing in a way, right? Like, that whole thing when I said on stage, like we went from a one religion coin, one God. Now there's 5. Now there's a pantheon. Why can't I? And then it becomes this whole thing where like now that the schism has happened, it's like, I might have this coin because it's a good utility coin. This is, and then eventually he's like, buy my pumped out tires coin. That's everyone's shaking their shit, but like that's what it is now because we've evolved from basically I won't say utility coin, but essentially a utility coin on Ethereum when we evolved into our own chain that does everything. And we got NFTs, we got loaning programs, we got stable coins, we got yield farms. I mean, everything that is in L1. And that's like schisms our minds so much to basically saying like some of the stuff because if Richard was online right now, he would actually slowly like if we were on YouTube, right? Stuff we said in 21 doesn't track to this cycle.
Right.
Exactly.
So now, but there's wisdom in what we said and what Richard said, because of course, don't have all your money in exchanges. Really good idea. Learn how to use crypto. Extremely good. Self-custody, good. Exactly. But if we're trying to get to the next level is like we can't just be online all the time. We have to have it in the physical.
Yep.
And that's why what Zenas was saying about the US coming in and everything like that, and we're gonna be more official because eventually, if everything goes good and we get stamped in, because all right, you guys were a Ponzi, but you guys were such a Ponzi, you get grandfathered in. Congratulations, Scientology, you're a religion now. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
And, but no, I mean, all jokes aside, but I mean, you graduate into that thing where we can now work the official channel of it. We're still gonna preach DeFi and everything.
Yes.
But you can't onboard it like look, most of these people are. We're in Las Vegas, right? Most gambling town on the planet. 99% of these guys don't own crypto.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of exchanges,
They know crypto
too,
maybe, but they don't own it.
They've heard of it, yeah.
So Richard talked about creating exchange before, all that stuff too. Recently talked a lot about centralized exchanges. Hey, go out, reach out to all these people and stuff too. Interesting tweets and stuff recently. Do you all think that we could see an exchange launch, just like we saw? Nobody saw Pump Towers coming. You think Richard's going to launch an exchange?
And I think the Kraken thing has a potential.
He's going to acquire it.
Yes.
That would be fucking gangster.
I look at it this way, right? Which is the best analogy I would look at it this is like, imagine kind of like a child, right? First you like, baby, toddler, right? You learn how to crawl, then you know how to walk, and then you know how to run. And again, it goes back to the clarity. People think like it's just one-way street. We only mean one way. No, exchange is good. They say, hey, watch out for the leverage. Don't put all the money there. Don't get wrecked. But nobody said, hey, don't use exchange. But some people are so either not understanding the messaging or just one-sided. It's not black and white. 50 shades of gray, right? So it's like understanding that nuance is really going to be the key, and knowing when to use it, and understand that we graduated from what we were before, because it was literally a war zone. You had to be defensive. You had to be like the 300, like in the movie, really rely on each other, because we saw people came to the community, attack, pretend to be nice, and then hurt us bad. We saw some exchange. We sent them the money, Maxi, right?
Right.
And then they dumped on their head and they took the money. So it's like, it wasn't just, hey, we can't forget that.
So
too.
here's how I see it is like, honestly, I see it as, sure, Richard is one of the richest men in the world, and sure, he could probably make just about anything happen.
Also the best guy in crypto.
But my thesis goes more to the fact that basically he wants to be the best. He doesn't want to win things through political favor. We could have done that. We could have played that game, but we won in court. And so when I look at the question of centralized exchange listings, did Satoshi, I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm guessing that Satoshi is not somebody who had to go beg a centralized exchange as a founder or bribe them. It was the community that did it. And so when I look at Richard's deep psychology, I think to myself, well, challenge accepted. We are the best community in crypto, and it is up to us to get a centralized exchange listing. That's why I've been, cracking the whip at Aubrey de Grey, because we gave him $27 million, and that was really cool, and that was PulseChain related. And now it's time for us to get a centralized exchange listing in Coinbase or Kraken, and those are the only two I care about. And so now it's come to the point where I'm asking him, like, all right, it's time to use your social capital to help us out. And that doesn't involve Richard, but hey, challenge accepted, and if we have to be the best community again and again and again, Ripple, they didn't wait for an organic group of people with great leadership. They didn't wait for them to come along and to, struggle and to pass the test by fire and to go through the SEC and everything.
But like, we have to look at it sort of like these are countries, right? And these are different countries. So you have monarchies, and then you like I think XRP is like some sort of communism thing where like it's just dream of the future, but the people in charge are fucking just cashing out, living like kings. And then paying payola and doing all kinds of illegal shit and human rights.
People love that shit. Why?
And that's what they do because they're retarded.
Why?
Well, it's because
all right.
No, they are retarded. I mean, they're retarded.
Confirmed.
I think that's the key thesis to this.
I mean, the key thesis that's what it is. It's like there's monarchies, and like, but any like. I shouldn't say.
We're committed now.
Really, any. I mean, there's no. I mean, even if you look in crypto, there's really no female-led chain, right? At all, right? There's no because.
Tam, save us.
Yeah, indeed.
Right. I mean, starting at
still know what 96%
but it's this whole thing where like you need leadership and stuff. But also you can't be just a decentralized, disorganized thing, because the centralized shit will fuck you up and kill you. You won't survive. You won't survive. No, you can survive in this little thing. I like DigiByte. DigiByte was a really great but the founder was having trouble, and then just finances were not handled properly. Community and then eventually it's died. It's dead. Yeah. Even though it's a great coin, it was a great coin. It's dead now.
I think that the argument, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say once we get on Kraken or Coinbase, I'm gonna say people will be able to go back and they'll still be able to say that it was Richard's masterstroke genius idea to include cents in the donation sacrifice form
Right.
where you only get 75% credit. Well, I must have made, I don't know, 25% or half of my PulseChain sacrifice was 2 cents, even though I was getting less coins, because I care about longevity.
Exactly. Right. And Richard did too.
So
again, that's a very important thing.
So that, I mean, that was like that was a poker chip, you know, that was played, and now it's time to cash it in. And I don't think it takes Richard to be involved.
No.
Because I've already
it's like if you were to look at the
met with
company,
Aubrey
right?
so
The
much.
CEO, chief visionary, is worried about the big things, right? And then the army, the rest of all the generals are the one doing all the heavy lifting, which makes sense because he did his part, right? He had to go and fight the SEC and win, which he did. That's a big deal. He had to create, Hex, Pulse, all sort of stuff, flawless operation, 5-year running, all this other stuff. That's the big stuff he has to do. And then now we can do the other stuff. And now
so Aubrey isn't the only one who owes PulseChain something. Okay,
Yes.
Aubrey
Many wallets out there.
Aubrey is like bum buddies with Vitalik. All right, so that's pretty cool. That's an important thing. Vitalik has a lot of influence. Vitalik got coins unstuck. Like we need the PDI to get unstuck for Sense Foundation right now. But who else do we know in politics that has a shitload of power right now? Oh, Jim O'Neill. Jim O'Neill was the CEO of Sens after Aubrey left. And who is he now? He's in the effing cabinet of Trump because he's the deputy secretary of Health and Human Services, which is the #2 position under RFK in the entire country for Health and Human Services. And so are you telling me that PulseChain has somebody who owes us a favor?
Yeah, but
Who's in the Trump administration?
You
In
know
the
what, I understand
cabinet?
that, but you should probably say that. I mean, like, because it just sounds bad.
I mean, yeah,
it's just like
you can't just like mug the guy and be like,
fucking
"Yo,
owe us," and like, yeah.
Well,
I mean, to steal someone's quote,
but-
it's like maybe we should.
I understand.
What are we asking for? What are we
Let's talk
asking
about
for?
it.
We're
Just gotta
asking to be treated like any other crypto that there is.
Fairness.
Why is PulseChain the #4 crypto by volume in the world, and we are the #1 that's not on a centralized exchange? Is because of political warfare. It's because of things that Trump got elected to fix.
Right.
Yep. And we want to.
So yeah, we deserve it.
We just need a fair chance, right?
Yeah, we deserve
We need to
it.
be on the fair
Like-
playing field,
like-
and then
like,
we can win
what-
that fight.
like-
We're the easiest thing to list.
That
We're
is-
the most
I
compliant.
think there's two sides to that. Number one is the SEC allegation was a credible reason for people to drop PulseChain from like DEXs even, or also to keep people out of the centralized exchanges. The other half of that, though, is even before the SEC complaint came out, was that we were still off and like deranked on CoinGecko. So there's stuff beyond that. Now that we do have people in politically appointed offices, that's fantastic, absolutely. But at the same time, though, those people are not the ones running the exchanges.
Exactly.
So
They're not the one gatekeeping us.
We got to figure out how to go from point A to B on that one.
The other scar, the other wound that never healed was Richard Vampire attacked Bitcoin.
What?
Well, we know that that's true because I used to be a Bitcoin maxi and I heard about Richard and then I got into Hex, right? And so that's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Just like lots of people
But
have
what do you mean by
vampire
vampire
attacks.
attack?
So
Exactly.
lots of people have extracted users because they built something better. What did Vitalik do?
Yeah, exactly.
He
What did he
vampire
do?
attacked Bitcoin. What did Richard do? He built something better,
That
right?
just sounds more like beer companies mad that people are switching from Corona to Modelo because their big brother told them that like Modelo's way better and doesn't like give you hangover headaches. It's like it's just a better product. So is that really a vampire attack? I mean, they can.
So what I'm
Everything
saying-
came from Bitcoin, so everything for that to the
Yeah.
Bitcoiner, right?
If those
So
stuff Bitcoin can do.
like
Yeah,
this is dog shit compared to Bitcoiners. And I mean, Bitcoiners think everything's bad. I mean, like it's just like that isn't fucking Bitcoin. I mean, fucking like Sailor almost had like an ulcer or an aneurysm on
Right,
stream.
yeah, right.
Like he's
Literally.
like, there is no second best.
And the biggest joke, especially for DeFi, is like there's literally more Bitcoin running on ETH than on the other. You know what I mean? Like the rap Bitcoin. I mean, it's just like what are we talking about?
Like without any political favors, which is how we won in court. Without any political favors, we deserve a centralized exchange listing yesterday.
Yes, of course.
And so, yeah, so the fact that it might take this community to figure out, hey, who owes us a political favor, to just literally make something right that has been wronged by lawfare. Like I kind of said, like, why are we not already on a centralized exchange?
Yeah,
well, probably because of the SEC, their corrupt asses coming after us. And
One
now
other
that's
thing I
over.
will say is optics. right? Because we do have a I don't know what to call it, a DAO, let's say, that has pretty good access to a lot of different chains in crypto and ways to like swap things and whatever. That I literally was just like, you're missing two of the most important chains in crypto, and they're like, what's that? Sonic and PulseChain. Oh, who's running these? The first question they asked was, who's running these two things?
Because they want to cash in on those ad dollars.
Well, so what I said was, you got Andre Krohn and you got Richard Hart, two of the best innovators in the space that have built out a lot of what crypto is. First reaction was, oh yeah, we recognize that with Andre, but we don't recognize that with Richard because of the tarnish that Interpol notice has on that. And that's again, politics and optics.
That one is especially politics. Yeah. So if you go to Richard Hart's Interpol red notice and then you scroll either direction, you're going to notice that the things that they're accusing them of are very, very different. One is simple assault and tax evasion, and then you go either direction and you get closer to like terrorism. So that one is very,
it doesn't make sense,
but
it still has the effect.
Yeah, it's like the SEC notice in a different way.
They're
trying to do a character assassination.
And Richard, look, and also let's be honest, when Richard was just streaming all the time, I think this was, I mean, I understand like community-wise, kumbaya-wise was correct to do, but I think strategically was a mistake from Richard when Richard was around and had, you know, whatever, or the OA, I don't know, right? The OA, or he should have had us listed and paid the money to have us listed on Binance. And that was a mistake. It was a mistake, absolutely a mistake. Now I understand why you didn't want to do it.
Binance letting us potentially list over there because they were the one that got a kick off from coin market.
Like everyone knows, right?
On that too.
Richard knows everybody. Richard knows everybody. He's an OG. He knows all these maxis. He knows all the Ethereum.
But some of them are hating on.
I know, hating on
jealousy.
Right, but they list scams, right? We said, but they list scams. Yeah. But like the exchange listings ask for a certain amount of coins or a certain amount of dollars, and it's just a sort of thing like there's.
But I can't forget the quote that he said multiple times, which is, "Oh, there's people that got money on Binance, they can't take the money on." So it's like there might be some back doors, so you don't know. Because again, in my own phone, I got big exchange texting me on Telegram, asking me, "List, come." But I'm like, we got to worry about this stuff because that's how you get finessed. Sometimes you send the money and then it's DeFi, right? It's gone. They don't owe you nothing.
So maybe deals could have been done on the U.S. side or something like that. I mean, but this is where it gets difficult. We're like, somebody has to put their neck out.
It's a trust issue,
to get and I get it, but like I get it, but you have to fucking do that because it's like you need the onboarding. Now he is the founder, still is a founder. I'm not chastising him or nothing like that. But like that's a strategy that he did that he could pull off because he could just market it. And we're fine, but we don't have that marketing anymore. So then now we do have to try to like push it out. And now obviously we got Uniswap back, Matcha, fuck yes, go Matcha, good, right? Yeah. But you know, we do now. Let's see what happens, and maybe we can get Kraken, maybe we can get Coinbase, and we can get all these things and stuff. But like we have to try now to do that because also we got an L1 and we need to like in order to.
I think the timing now is good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, because I'm not hating. I'm not saying anything, but it's just like it is this whole thing where like I'm sorry, we have to. How we get to the next level? That's the next level.
No, you're absolutely right. I was just giving context, but yeah.
Part of it was that remember only 5% of Hex coins are circulating at this point. Users circulating coins because the OA started with 50% and then bought up all the tokens, so we could get a 10,000x. So if Binance even wanted 1% of the market supply, which like doesn't seem like that much to any token that doesn't do a 10,000x. Then that would have been that's 20% of the actual sell pressure that could have occurred. And so I will still give it to you that that was a mistake to not list because did we really even need a 10,000x in order to have full glory last cycle? Maybe if Binance was dumping the whole way up, maybe we would have only gotten 1,000x and everybody still would have been happy. And then you wouldn't have gone down as much from the top.
If we did so well on Binance, let's just say we did really good on Binance, right? Yeah. And then what would happen is Hex would have done, and I'm not trying to use, but Binance is a good example because that's probably the most likely one we would have gone on legitimately, right? Because I mean, you could say maybe because of the unclarity and US being not crypto friendly, we probably wouldn't have gone on Kraken or Coinbase just because it wouldn't have happened. So the reason I brought up Binance is because that one was probably going to be the one. And if we got listed on there would have been a fourth version of Hex on Pancake Swap. No, I'm serious. Like, one to one, just a bridge. There would have been a bridge to Binance Chain, and then when we did PulseChain, the network and stuff, we would have had a massively large. I would really believe would at least got 50% more people. Because of us being on Binance and because of all the money that's on BNB, we would have made some people on BNB a fuck ton of money that they would have been, holy shit, yeah, let's go.
By the way, that can still happen.
That can still happen. But this is where we're talking about, like, when me and Charlie were saying this last cycle, and these are some of the things that we like. That's why, like, but it was a strategy, and I think it still played out extremely good because we had Richard there, and he was like a fucking unbelievable operator.
Here's the number one cool thing that I would say being on Binance will help that people don't see is the fact that they have the power because they control it to fix the coin market cap ranking. If we fix that, because as much as we love it, it is still, unfortunately, whatever, the number one website people go to check crypto, especially how Miguel is talking about the people who haven't heard of
We're
crypto
not on
yet.
page 1
Once they get
anymore
there.
with the OA burning anyway, so.
But we can quickly get there. Low liquidity, get
So
people
actually
in.
talk about that. How much of the supply
That's
was
easy.
burned? How much of the supply?
Oh, I think it was, I think it went from like 90% of the supply was liquid to now 95% is staked.
Because when you stake the hex, the coin gets burned, so it gets removed from the market cap calculation. But again, the liquidity is so low that don't matter because again, when the pump comes in, hex is designed to pump. Like it can literally do 100x because guess what? If you get the people coming in, right? We understand the math. Like we have what 350,000 more or
But I
less.
think
one of those exchange, we go to the millions.
I think it's an order of operation.
That's true. But when you go to these things and you sort, there's two things that we sort by. What do we sort by? Market cap, and then also probably checking out the gainers and losers like Charlie does on the show every day. So you got to get hit one of those two metrics.
I go to these ones to find out what's about.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, so okay. Last thing on the exchanges, right? Like, so
I got a point on
that would,
exchanges
I think that would have been the premier strategy for last cycle.
Uh-huh.
It was Binance. This one, it would have to be a U.S. exchange because
Yes.
it's a U.S. led market, and two, Binance, they're after his ass right now. Like he is like the U.S. is essentially knocking out all competitors right now.
Is Kraken US?
Yes.
Okay.
And
he's one of the most
I think
old-
Kraken would be the best.
It is
one.
actually one of the oldest
Why?
exchange. People don't know that.
Why?
Oh, they've just been really good. They helped. That's where one of the main places they ICO'd a lot of Ethereum whales. It was one of the first markets where you actually could buy Ethereum.
Yes.
It works. They're
The
really the OGs are
never
real
been
DeFi.
hacked.
So who
DeFi-wise.
decides what gets listed there?
I don't know. We have
Probably
to
the CEO.
Yeah,
and to
Yeah.
quote
Yeah, there's
Richard,
underlings and shit, you know.
and to quote Richard, which is cool, is actually the exchange with the least amount of insane, crazy leverage that get people wrecked. That's also important because
true.
when you're wrecked, you got no more money to invest anywhere else. So it's like they're old, never been hacked. You know, again, lately they've been kind of fucking up with the meme coin. I'll give them that. That was a bad PR move. But overall, compared to the rest, it's the least bad.
Binance will still be good. Binance will still be good, but Binance is like one extra step of generate for the U.S. investor.
Yes,
and a lot of the European investors as well. It is one
Right.
little extra step
Right.
because of all the stuff that's been going on. It's still the largest exchange by volume, but they've got a lot of competition now, and then the U.S. companies have money now behind them.
So on the Binance point, I think I just want to say too, I wonder back then, because Richard talked a lot about building his own exchange at that point. There's a dev list. You can still look into the tweets, all the stuff I want to do, build my own exchange, still on there, even own stablecoin, that's on there and stuff too. I've talked about it on the show. I wonder back then if the strategy was instead of, because, it was like, oh, pull your money to Binance. You can't get everything off, everything to true DeFi, all that stuff. I wonder if maybe, before around PulseChain time, there was a plan to do exchange, and then maybe PulseChain took president. Okay, we got to do this later. And then that opportunity to do some kind of centralized exchange listing just didn't happen because there was maybe a plan to have their own exchange and then fix everything from there. So
Well, he's tweeted about it now, like, hey, community, it's up to you to go get us listed on these top 3 exchanges. So
we had
that's
some ominous tweets about
The community is doing it though. It looks good. I mean,
Right.
I'm proud. It's happening right now.
Bro, people are out there filing paperwork. Hexer just the other day, he spent 5 hours filing out all the paperwork. Just
Shout to
make sure-
Hexo, yeah, shout to
yo,
Hexo,
shout-
yeah.
like, it's very important because again, the timing is now. We have all those things together. We got the regulatory clarity. We're now in a position where, again, I say this in the most respectful way, because of what we teach, whatever. We're the community that's also the least wrecked, and I want to be clear about what I mean by that. I'm not just talking about, oh yeah, price went down, whatever, this and that, because via staking, whatever, we got extra coin. But when something is down 60, 70, even 80%, it's still better than your whole thing is gone because you got liquidated, meaning you went to zero. Like people forget that. And one more important thing, you still got your coin. When the price goes back up, you getting everything back just as fast and some. It goes back to what Miguel was saying earlier, which is like when you understand the mindset of the bear market, when you're doing the LP and all the farm, you ain't worried about USD. You're like, yo, let me stack some coins. I'm just loading. I'm not even looking at price.
And this is since it is decentralized.
I heard that's cultivating crypto. I don't know. I had to throw that. Sorry, shameless show.
But this is why these collaboration streams are so important, especially like a big panel like this, and micro ones as well, like 1 or 2 influencers and stuff. But like a big one, why this is important? These in-person conferences and the online conferences are important, is because then all the top streamers and people talk, because this is decentralized. Richard's not running it, right?
Yep.
It's decentralized, so people can come up with strategies. Hey, let's do this. How about this quarter? How about a quarterly shareholder meeting? Whoa, it's almost like it's I don't know.
It's like a crypto council.
I think I'm going to do a stream that says Hex shareholder meeting. Just
I mean, literally,
they're a legit company. Okay.
You know the sad shit about that is if every quarter we invited all the top streamers and stuff, everybody got together and stuff. Hey, what can we do?
Yes.
Do you know how much? I mean, we don't have to. It doesn't have to be quarterly. Would be nice, but if it was like once a month or once every quarter, we meet on the first of every third month, right? We all get together. Let's talk for 2 hours. What should we do? We're like, all right, cool, boom. We would actually be much more organized than pretty much every other chain.
Right, big time, because the value is there, the talent
and it's decentralized.
Is there, the mindset.
No one's paying us to do this shit either.
But we want to do it.
But if like Hexologist, Coffee, Somi, me, Charlie, you guys, I mean, everyone got together. Big group, fucking 100 on a giant Zoom call meeting. It could be 400 people or some shit, right? This is what we need to do. All right.
Oh, a space.
A space or something. No, not a space.
Oh no,
not a space. No. I mean, we can afterwards.
Or we can
that could be big.
What's it called on Telegram? The voice chat.
The voice chat.
We can do that too. It's
I call this
encrypted.
meeting to order.
Yeah.
Robert's Rules of Order.
Who put you in charge?
That's going to be the hardest thing to figure out for you.
Right.
And then who the fuck is organizing?
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Yeah, but
all right, Matty, you're in charge. Take care of it.
No, but here's the thing: is like you would have to put. I mean, not that we have to fucking elect a fucking president or something, but it has to be like it would just be something like, all right, we're like it's almost like Kalen. All right, Kalen, organize this thing, put it together, and then everyone talk, because we can't just have one person be the fucking leader of it too, because then. Here comes drama. Why should we leave this fucker? He's a piece of shit and did this and he did that. RG3 in his fucking hair. Oh my god, I hate coffee.
Well,
Miguel and Charlie, fuck those guys.
They're terrible people.
And also, you want to share the burden. It's not because somebody say it's great, like, oh, he's gonna take care of it. No, we need to all be involved. Because I remember being even, like I said, on the voice chat in the early days of Hex, we were so bubbly. There was like thousands of people. We were literally it just organized itself. People were coming in, talking this, that, and then because we were all there showing that, hey, what can we do? We want to collectively pump this thing.
But yeah, you're right. Like we're humans. Eventually, we're all going to get together, and someone's leading the conversation, which is going to happen. But we'll come to it organically at some point. But it's got to be done as like everyone shows up, and then it's decided.
And to some extent, we already have this. We already have leaders in our community who speak, truth to power, who are out there inspiring others. I get inspired when I see all the other Hex YouTubers. And so whether it's formal or informal, it's like you guys say, the hard work, the consistency, being right about things,
the value,
all that adds up into a cult mentality. It adds up into, people being locked in. And then, for whatever reason, everybody's here, the more we can grow and like leadership, it's a moving target, but at the same time, I think we have a lot of good leaders here, and the more that we can cross promote and collaborate, that makes a lot of sense, because we are a chain that has more influencers that are here for the right reason than anyone else.
Keyword
leadership.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say leadership in a decentralized space does seem like an oxymoron.
Yes,
I think that the way that it works is that you just got to find somebody that's already walking the path and has a very clear vision that they can clearly explain to people and get people to onboard and rally. You're not going to be a leader forever, I don't think. But at the same time, it's going to shift. It's going to move. It's going to flow. But at the same time, though, it's like it's very soft power, so to speak, in this one. So you kind of just got to get going. And then if people like your message, they'll fall in, and then you can work together with other people, merge, whatever you want to do. But
because we share the core values.
Have you guys ever seen Rick and Morty? You guys ever seen Rick and Morty? Right?
Yeah, it's great.
It's what it feels like to me a little bit, right? What's going to happen, and it's sort of like we're essentially a bunch of Ricks, and and then we're going to make the council of Ricks, and then everyone thinks that they're the Sigma Alpha fucking Rick. and then you guys are all gay for making the Council of Rigs. You know, and that's what it really is. It is that whole shit. Everyone thinks that they're Sigma, but no.
Oh,
like they're all the top dog alpha, and it's going to be this giant thing. That's what's going to happen. It's like we're making. It's a Council of Rigs. It's kind of in a weird way.
Diamonds made under pressure.
Leaders don't need to be elected; they can emerge. So
yeah, they can
go out there and emerge.
So actually, that's perfect. So actually, perfect thing. Where can people follow you, brother?
RHMax.tv. That'll go to the YouTube channel and ask you to subscribe. Feel free.
What days do you actually stream?
Whichever day I want.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Which is
my bad.
Which has been a lot lately. Yeah, usually I don't know 3, 4, 5 days a week. No expectation.
Oh wow.
Nice.
And GoRealDeFi.com. It's a community site I built as well to help onboarding. I like using it, all that good stuff. But yeah, RHMax.tv. Go to the channel, see the content. At RHMax was on the X.
What about you, Fast Abdul?
I can be found at Twitter at FastAbdul and on YouTube at just about any show you turn on. I'm probably around. Lately, I've been streaming Maddie and the Game Theory Gang every Tuesday. I'm on with St. Wolf once or twice a week. I'm on with DeFi Down Under, usually every Thursday evening at U.S. time. And I'll pick up a couple in between with whoever will have me.
Have you ever thought of maybe doing like once a week? Just, I mean, obviously you don't have to be a full YouTuber because I mean, look, I understand you're busy and you're actually working. That's a real thing, right? Yeah. But a once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks, just like, hey, this is what we do. I think that would really help out your platform.
Like to have my own.
Yeah, your own thing where like here, like it's sort of like people have medium articles, right? So it's sort of like you have like, hey, this is what we've done in the last month. Right. And it can just be monthly, nothing
just
crazy.
Review.
Just review. But this month, this is what we've done. These liquidity pools changed. This movie here. And, you know, we've been on these shows and community. I've noticed personally in other communities, people love that shit when they're like, oh, I found this cool project. Wow. There's about 5 meetings here or 5 months created 5 months ago.
Yep.
Let me see the evolution.
That's a good idea.
I see like a work ethic here.
It builds trust.
It builds trust.
This stuff is super heavy too, right? So people need something to review to be able to understand all the things that could have happened.
Because you're a very specific. You would be a very specific channel because you're a project leader and stuff. You don't need to actually stream every day or something like because you're already doing all this other stuff. But just like a roundup of like this is what we've done, 1 hour thing and stuff, and then maybe you bring a person from your community and stuff that maybe knows like maybe it's like DJing the pool's crazy.
And I must say Wednesday afternoons are wide open. Nobody streams on Wednesday afternoons for some reason.
Maddie, that hurts.
Interesting.
Wednesday afternoon.
Afternoons, your evening.
Yeah.
And like that consistency is rewarded.
No. I'm
right?
saying there's almost always a Hex or PulseChain stream going on 24/7. Okay.
Yeah.
And but I've noticed Wednesday afternoon we don't have anybody yet. So yeah.
Wednesday afternoon,
that's
Magic Crypto Show is
the
live.
That's the one spot that's open.
And like you said, review nice breakdown.
Cryptos. Here we go.
Camel Club. So
Camel Club.
Brother.
Yeah,
Mr. Twinkie.
Yeah. You can
Hump
find me
day.
at Mr. Angry Twinkie on all socials. You can also find me once a week co-streaming with my partner, Crypto Boogie, who unfortunately is not here.
Boogie.
Common Boogie L. Common
What's your
Boogie
channel?
L. I'm at Mr. Angry Twinkie on YouTube, and I'm also at US_Crypto Boogie for the tacos and kimchi show we do once a week.
Wow, nice.
Woo.
Yeah.
Really great show. You
Put that
guys
in the
watch.
chat,
I
too,
retweet
so
the show all the time. They're
That's a good one.
fantastic show.
Yep.
Absolutely. You guys should do a collab.
We'll make it happen.
So, brothers, where can people follow you?
Folks, you can find me on DGen Roundtable. We stream Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then you can also catch our show Walk the Block on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're launching that product to that channel to try to reach out as more of a curated service to onboard people and do our job. Cool. And then as far as the spirit of collaboration goes, Moon Gang, if you ever want to come on and hang out with DGen Roundtable, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you. So hit me up on Twitter, ZenithDI. That's my handle there. Or you can hit me up in the DGen Roundtable Telegram chat as well.
Distinguished investor.
Yeah, he coined it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Distinguished investor.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, me primarily for crypto. You can find me on X, Twitter, right? At Your Magic, very important. YOR, right? MADJIC. And I stream with Maddie once a week, which is awesome as well. And then on Instagram, believe it or not, we got an Onboard there. And then shameless plug, shout out to Super Hex. He's doing a really, really good job.
Shout out Super Hex.
Super Hex is real.
So you can find me on Instagram, Kareem Crypto 45.
Who are you again?
Okay, so if you're watching this stream right now and you're banging Jesse Powell or
very specific.
if you have any relation whatsoever, please contact me. My name is Maddie All In, and I'm here to get us listed on Kraken. You
That's
can
an all-in
find me at
statement right there.
pulsechainconference.com.
Nice. That's the winner right there.
It's called punching through the noise, everyone.
So
He knows the mission.
So you can find me and Charlie at not on YouTube right now.
Yeah, we're like you can literally find us Monday morning in the crypto mindset course, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, we just did this because obviously we're in the tours right now, but we were officially off of YouTube until we're done with the classes. So
Yeah, we don't sleep this month, basically.
yeah, not really. So, but yeah, you can find me at Dollar Cost Crypto. Obviously, you're on the channel right now, and I'm Dollar Cost Crypto, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Dollar Cost Crypto.
Yep, Cultivate Crypto on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, cultivatecrypto.com. You know,
Beautiful. And the Citadel. Don't be poor.
Philadelphia strong, baby.
Very strong.
Or no more.
Ape strong together. So you guys think? I mean, this was a really great discussion. Obviously, on Hex, PulseChain, and obviously just a great group of friends and stuff. And we're about to go out right now and have some fun.
Let's go!
Hey! So
Awesome.
salute to everybody, man. And conference ain't over yet, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes. Let the fun
Send me
begin.
Kyle. Boom.
Boom.
You have to cut me off.